with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around with me. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Okay. Welcome to the show, guys. Talking to myself. Yeah, I wanted to touch base. I started out my last Tuesday live where I was going to cover one subject, and the whole Mykelti interview subject matter was kind of dropped on us. And that was a very guttural response from me. I didn't see the video. I wasn't aware of exactly what was said or how it was said or how it was talked about. So, in fairness to everybody involved, because as mentioned during that live, I take these types of allegations, and specifically the subject matter, very seriously. And so, as we approach it, I don't want to do any snap decisions or make any snap judgments as far as believability or who I trust, who I don't trust, what can we listen to, or make judgment calls about the Browns and their parenting, especially without hearing the full story. So I did not do the call-ins at that time on Tuesday. I will, however, be opening the phone lines today. The only thing that I ask, well, not the only thing, but my big thing with this particular, especially with this particular subject matter, is that we be respectful and we be mindful of the fact that there are people in the audience who may have been touched by this very issue, whether it's personally or someone they know, someone they're related to. Maybe they are in a situation where they are currently dealing with or have historically dealt with one of their own children or young folks in their lives who have dealt with this. So this isn't a let's try to figure out how we can say the most snarky thing possible, but I do want to kind of be more positive and positive and thoughtful. Like I get if people want to be negative as far as their view on certain parenting styles, et cetera, et cetera. I get that. But I just don't want it to devolve into just simple, bash. Because even with some of these situations, I would like to at least strive to find some commonplace, some healing some place where we can move forward and have a productive conversation. So with that being said, I'm going to give folks a little time to kind of log in. Thank you, Negla. I appreciate the birthday wish. Yeah, feeling old. But well, not old. That's not true. Feel good, feel strong. But I'm gonna give folks a little time to log in and get notified and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna play a little bit of music while I still set things up, and we'll rock and roll right after that.
Could be watching chefs burn pots in the kitchen, or influencers fake fights for attention. Drama queens with crowns, but no conviction. But now you're here, my addiction. Could've clicked that, prank that, mukbang feast, or streams of gamers slaying beats. But you're here with me, not scrolling free, not lost in streams or reality. You're here with me, fast, knock glasses down. Or a dude trying to stunt, stressed as a clown. DIY hacks turn smiles to frowns. But you're vibing here, no fakes around sound. This ain't unboxing or ASMR. No clickbait titles, no rented cars. Realest channel in your repertoire. Stay tuned, superstar. But you're here with me, not scrolling free, not lost in streams or reality. You're here with me where you wanna be, out the algorithm. Just you and me.
Okay. Once again, we are back. Every time I try to get out of Sister Wives, I feel like they keep pulling me back in. Yeah, I'm still moving forward with my true crime format. As mentioned before, a lot of the production or produced videos that I'll be doing will be featured on the My Take on Reality page. The live streams will, however, occur on My Take on Reality Live, which is why I created the separation. So just wanted to give folks that heads up that this is something we'll be doing. Let me just, and we'll play one more song because we still got some people loading in, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Scrolling through the tube, all the thumbnails flash. Cats doing flips, pranks gone bad, they crash. But now you landed here where the beats don't miss. Yeah, algorithm point, but you hit my abyss. Oh. Could've clicked the cooking show. Could've learned to tie a boat. But you chose this flow. So let's go, yeah. You could be watching any YouTube channel, but you're here with me, grab the remote, dismantle. Lost in the pixels, but the vibe too ample. You could've clicked away, now you're stuck in my scandal. ASMR whispers, mukbang feast, unbox therapy or conspiracy priest. But now you're in a trap, this rap's your feast. Chewing on the words, every line unleashed. A million views, a billion streams, but don't hit the vein of these digital dreams. You could surf the net, but you stayed in my scheme. Caught up in my rhythm, my beat supreme. You'll be watching any YouTube channel, but you're here with me, grab the remote, dismantle. Lost in the pixels, but the vibe too ample. You could've clicked away, now you're stuck in my scandal.
All right. Welcome back to the show. We are going full on live tonight. I'm not going to do a whole diatribe on what I think or what the assessment I have as far as the issue with Mykelti is concerned. I do want to give folks an opportunity, because I didn't give much opportunity in the last live for people to be able to, come on and kind of put their 2 cents in, because it was done for a couple reasons. Like, the first reason, of course, is it was information that was just dropped. And I already was kind of hesitant to comment on things that I wasn't necessarily privy to. Like, so I didn't have all the information. It was just kind of, I was given a description of what Mykelti had said during the course of an interview, and I responded to it, like, with my, what I thought at the time. Like, that was my first reaction. So if you ever kind of wonder what my thought process is and how I work through shit, that was basically it on full display. Okay, on full display. All right, I'm going to put the comments up on screen. Hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, I see. And the whole thing is that I don't want to be in a situation. Again, I said earlier, as people are kind of logging in and coming into the space, I'm going to open the phone lines, and I want folks to be mindful. that, like, I don't care. Like, I'll say it this way. I'll frame it this way. If you call me up and you disagree with things that I say, or you think I'm an asshole, I gotta look, put it where the ghost can get it. You just think I'm a big jerk. You could call up and say to James, I think you're a big jerk. I think you got it wrong. I think you low IQ, whatever you want to say. Do you, boo boo? I mean, but please understand that you will get back the same energy that you put on me. Like, I will return it, but I can handle it. I can take it. I don't care. But when it comes to the community as a whole and at large, I am far more protective of the community. So what I don't want to see, and what I want people to keep in mind, what I want people to keep in mind is that within our community we have a huge diversity of folks. We have people from all over the world that tune into the show and enjoy the community that we've built. We also have, because we have people from all over the world, we have people from different walks of life. We have people with different life experiences. And some of those experiences include this particular subject matter that we are going to discuss. And whether it's them personally experiencing it, or helping family members or friends or people they're close to deal with these issues, I want us to be mindful and considerate of the fact that this shit is not a game. Okay. And when I said this on Tuesday, I was deadly serious. The whole issue of children being taken advantage of is a big issue for me. It's a very big issue because you're not just offending them or hurting them in that one instance. You are creating lifetime trauma in that situation, how they approach their relationships, friendships, how they see themselves. There's so many things that are impacted with that particular act. Then to add insult to injury, if you have a child who comes and fights through their own insecurities, their own fears, their own issues, and they come forward and share this experience with an adult only to be chastised because they are sharing it, that is a bridge too far for me. And I want to be very clear with that. That's why, you know, that's why I'm looking at this whole thing, and I don't know, maybe you guys have talked me off the ledge, but like as I'm looking at this, I don't think that there's any further discussion that we need to have moving past. Like, once she dropped, this is a possibility, then I'm kind of looking at it like, okay, well, what else are we talking about? Because we need to address this. This needs to be addressed, because this is not something you just kind of float out there and then we just going to sit around and talk about, oh, look at Robin. She's decorating her living room real funky with a bunch of stuff. I don't give a shit now. I don't care about none of that stuff. I don't care how much money Robin and Cody have pilfered from the other wives, or more to the point, the discussion of whether the wives actually gave them the money willingly or whether Robin and Cody tricked them out of it. I don't care whether they went out and bought. I don't care if they went out and bought Lamborghinis and they got them parked in their front yard and they're using them as planners. I don't care, because I think that this issue is such a big issue and it will change. Like, again, I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity to call in and give your perspective. I just. I mean, and then there's parts of the interview that I'm sure will come up during the course of the conversation that just kind of, raise my eyebrows a little bit about this whole thing. Like, for those who don't know, it was Cults of Consciousness. They did 2 interviews, from my understanding, with Mykelti. It's the second interview that they did with Jess Mykelti. It was the wife from Cults of Consciousness and Mykelti did an interview together, and Mykelti just kind of casually dropped it. She was, one of her pet peeves. She didn't even say it like, yeah, I have this thing to reveal. It was like, yeah, we used to get in trouble for tattling. And as an example of us getting in trouble for tattling, the first example she used was if Logan is climbing a 10-foot tree and about to bust his ass, and I go and tell, I would get in trouble for tattling. Then there was a time when I was SA'd by a neighbor. I came back and I felt like I got in more trouble for telling than the other one. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. That shit is not a side note. That is not a side. Like, what are we talking about? And that's where it gets kind of weird for me. That's because I had Carmel Cutie. She called, or she didn't call in. She left a message and she said that like even for her, there were some things that just sounded kind of shaky as far as the story was concerned. So and this puts me in a terrible position because I do not like this is kind of a weird place I'm in because sometimes on Saturdays when we do our members live, some things will come up, and I always feel like the shoe heel because I'm the guy trying to be fair. I'm trying to be balanced in my approach. And sometimes, things may feel good, like whether it's legal or whatever the case may be. It may feel good to make a certain assessment, but that's not the reality. Like if you go, like Cody getting his house taken because of child custody and child support, and then they say, you know what, you stole all this money from them. You're gonna take care of your daughter, so we're gonna you put down $2.1 million. We're gonna make you sell that house, and we're gonna give the money to Christine so she could take care of her daughter, and you're going to start funding a child support plan for these kids that you took advantage of. That makes you feel good to hear that. The reality of it is that Cody and Christine's income is so close. The assets that they have are so close. The amount of money that they would have that Cody might be responsible for contributing, especially being as though he's going to make the argument that he's been contributing to Truly the entire time. And Truly has been provided for the entire time. So if anything, his child support is going to move forward. He's not going to get hit with any back child support. And because of that, and the fact that Truly is as old as she is, she doesn't require as much, as according to the law. And they basically put you in a formula. It's not personality based or situation based. It's based on the magic formula that each state or jurisdiction uses. He's not going to pay that much in child support. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to the poorhouse behind child support. And when I say that, yeah, it bothers me that that's the case. And people look at me, James, you're kind of throwing cold water on it. That's how I feel with this. Because on one hand, can I see somebody coming out clout chasing and they float this story as a way to get attention? Absolutely. But I also balance that with the fact that what if this shit is real? And what if this is something she actually went through? And then I'm sitting up here doubting what she's saying because I think she may have other nefarious intentions. And then on the other hand, what if she is telling a lie? Do you realize how much damage this does to actual victims? Like people who actually come out for every 100 victims, for every one story that comes out where somebody makes up a story, that's 100 or 1,000 victims that won't be believed. Because every time they come forward, the one story that they're going to roll out about somebody, the damages of false allegations and implied situations and inferred offenses is going to be that one story. Remember that one girl came out and accused the neighbor of doing this, and it turned out she was just trying to get clicks because she wanted to be social media famous. And then you have somebody who is literally undergoing this. And that's why I take these stories, that's why I take these situations deadly serious. Because it's not just something that you say that impacts just you. This is something that has a ripple effect. Everybody talk about the slippery slope when they talk about legislation. This is the fucking slippery slope. This is the quintessential slippery slope. This is what it looks like. Okay, this is the ripple effect. If you come out and you tell a false story, you tell a lie for whatever reason, whether it's because you want attention, because you want better conditions for your child support or child custody agreement. So you come out and make this story up. You want to hurt somebody because they broke up with you or whatever the case may be. You are doing damage to actual victims. And even worse, let's put it where the goats could get it. Not only are you doing damage to the victims, but you are participating in creating additional victims. Let me say that one more time. You are participating in creating additional victims. Why do I say that? Because every time somebody gets away with this shit, I have never, and I've gone on record as saying this before, and if somebody has contradictory evidence, please provide it to me. But I have never once heard of a situation where somebody is participating in these types of activities and they only do the shit one time. I've never heard of one-time SA people. I never heard of one-time rapist. I've never heard of, like, this is something that they do. So if you are in a situation where you are putting people in a position where they're telling their stories and they're not being believed, you are leaving perpetrators on the street free to conduct their activities or continue to conduct their activities, thereby creating additional victims. So you're not just hurting the one person who has already been victimized, you're helping to create additional victims. This is part of the reason why I take this situation and this story deadly serious. This is why, like, this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is not something you just kind of float out to see what people, to check the temperature in the room. And so if this is something that was said in a way where she misspoke or we're misinterpreting it, she needs to come out immediately and say, whoa, 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 you guys have it wrong. That's not what happened. I overspoke, I misspoke, I said the wrong thing, I told the wrong story, whatever the case may be. Because otherwise, if we have to dig into this, then everybody is getting looked at different. I don't think there's any coming back as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't know if there's any real coming back from this. Because either way, like, if she's lying, then that plays into the whole narrative that the Brown family has been lying to us for 15, 20 years now. Almost going on 20 years. They've been lying to us. If she's telling the truth, then these people are shit parents. And you know what I mean? I get it. Like, because look, like I said, I want to clarify something. I got to open the phone lines up. I'm getting mad again. I want to clarify something. Just because this happens to somebody you know or a child or whatever, it's not your fault just by definition because you're around. You should have known better. I am not assigning blame that way. I am not assigning blame that way because people can be tricked. People can be fooled. Folks can fly under your radar and things can happen. Things can happen. But when push comes down to shove, if your child is coming to you and saying, mom, dad, uncle, cousin, adult, teacher, whoever, this is what happened to me. Whoa, 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 little Miss Tattletale, little Miss Blowing Secrets, little Miss Stooley Pigeon. That shit, you should never be around a child, in my opinion. You should never be around a child at that point. I don't give a shit about, I don't care about the raised in the cult shit. I don't care about the community you was in. If you are raised in a type of cult that allows for this type of behavior, then okay, I accept the fact that you don't know no better, but because you don't know any better doesn't mean you can't do better. And your ignorance is not enough for me to just overlook the fact that you're allowing this to happen. Can I say that? Is that fair? Is that fair? Like, because this is, like I said, you getting taken advantage of for your money. okay, yeah, you part of a cult. That's how you was raised. You ain't know no better. I can like that. I can, well, not like it, but I can lump it. I can deal with it. What I can't do is, yeah, I was raised in a cult, so I was giving this man my children. No, no, no. Then you are not equipped. You are not equipped to deal with children. Then I'm sorry. Oh, we were busy because we had work. Everybody got work. Everybody got work. Everybody busy. Shit, that ain't no excuse. I don't know. I'm getting worked up again. I can feel it. I can feel it. Before I get into it, let me. I'm gonna post the link. Here's the link. Focus. Before I do that, let me just. Oh, got my blood pressure creeping back up again. Like, this shit is crazy. And I was like, I won't say I was out the sister wife game, but I was like, if you notice, I haven't been covering a whole lot of sister wife stuff just intentionally. Just because it just felt like there wasn't much to talk about where I could actually add to the conversation. And I wasn't going to just soft pedal promote them just because. But this, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Lizzie B. What's going on, Lizzie? How you doing? Yeah, remember to give me that HBO special. Yeah, hit that live, My Take on Reality live, because that's where my live streams are going to live. A lot of this channel will be the true crime stuff. Just have to get into it. Hold on one second. Let me call my thing up. Hold on. What the hell's my? Yeah, I don't know, man. Kelty's driving me crazy. Yeah. I'm trying to be a good steward. I want to be a good steward about this, and I want to make sure that we're mindful of the fact that it's not just, and I want to go beyond just the Brown family too. Let's expand the conversation beyond just the Brown family, okay? Because if things happened in his family, like clearly, if there's charges that could be brought, I hope those charges are brought, and people are answerable to that. But let's also keep in mind that this is something that does not just happen. I don't want to Epstein this shit, basically. I don't want to. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to try to centralize this down to one victim, one perpetrator, and then all of a sudden we're somehow done and finished with talking about this particular situation. Like, oh, it's okay now because she's an adult and we can pretend like it didn't matter. Blah blah blah. I don't want to do that. We have to address it, because the only way we're going to actually do anything about it is recognize that there are people where this situation is still going on, where this is still happening. Today, there's a child who came forward and told their parents that this is what's happening, and they were ignored. Or you have the parent who is, with somebody, and they know full well that this joker is getting the hell up in the middle of the night, walking down the hallway and spending time with their child in their room. And because they awake when the fool get up, and they awake when he sneak down the hall, and they awake when he come back, and they know full well what's going on, and they expect everybody to be quiet about it and not say shit. So in light of that, I want to be I want to be very mindful that this isn't just a one-off thing. I had some talking points I wanted to share. And for some reason, that is not working. Why is that not working? Before we get into the phone calls, I just had one thing that I wanted to say as well. Just as a reminder, this topic is very serious. So I want to keep the calls focused. We can discuss the situation, the family dynamics, and larger issues surrounding childhood trauma. But I want to stick away or move away from accusing individuals of crimes, speculate about things we don't know, or attack people personally. Because at the end of the day, this interview was done in a way, and the comments were put forth in a way where we don't have a lot of information. We don't know a lot. We just know that she floated this out as a concept or idea. She said she's not ready to talk about it. We don't know. So we can't make implications based on the fact that in this particular cult, other people are guilty and this is what happens in this religion and blah, 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 because we don't know. Just because you might be friends with the Gambinos or a crime organization. Not saying the Gambinos guilty of shit. Please don't come see me. But you might be associated with a crime family. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're a criminal and you're committing crimes or you're guilty of what they're guilty of. So like the whole guilt by association, we have to be very careful of. Especially because, like I said, she didn't come out and give any specifics. This actually is very reminiscent of a lot of the stuff that she had said about when there was implication that Mary may have been mistreating her in the past. There were no specifics that were given, and then when the specifics, the examples started coming out, the examples were kind of shaky as shit. Like, what? I got in trouble because I was playing at a table and she told me to stop and I didn't stop, and then she sent me to bed without my dinner, and therefore, like Mykelti, that is not abuse. Like, I'm sending you to bed, you playing at the table, and she looking at you saying you done eating, and she said, I don't want you sitting here at my dinner table playing. That's not abuse. You know what I mean? That's called parenting. That's what that's called. That's what that looks like. So we can talk about it. But I have some. I don't know what it's not. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Here we go. I finally got it. And we'll call Linda up 1 second. There we go. All right. So I have some caller discussion questions if you guys want to help to keep the conversation on track. If you want to pick one, you're more than welcome, and then we can discuss it and talk about it. So pulling Linda up. What's going on, Linda? How you doing?
James, I'm doing good. So 1,000 apologies to everybody because I came across the video. I was looking for something else and that popped up and I looked at it. I said, oh, it's new. And I listened to it and she sounded inauthentic and they were talking parenting. When she dropped that, she didn't even say what it was, inappropriate something or other. It didn't really register because usually, in the past, she has said things, just what the example you gave of her accusing Mary. But had I really heard it, I would have posted the disclaimer because I know we have a lot of members who suffered through that. So, I'm so sorry if it triggered people, you got caught out there because I heard your live and I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to be responsible for killing James. Like, yo, I was like, oh my God, that's it. I fucking killed James, and that's that. But for real, like, and I went back and I just something in the end she said, and what really struck was that she had said they changed producers after season 10. So 11 and on, everything was real, that it wasn't rehearsed. And we thought some things looked staged. And that's what I was focusing on. Because for those that want to waste their time with 21, or if you were going to cover it, it was probably going to be real. But, I don't know if everyone has seen it. So it's on our Facebook page. It's just an hour. You could listen to it. And let's not fight amongst each other, because no one is victim blaming, because the way she drops it is like nothing, like even less emphasis on how she said that Mary was abusive. Like that is just how banal. And then, when I heard everybody and then some of the comments I was able to read, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm a mandated reporter, and I've had training, and it just did not register. I'm not saying that it registered to a full, like I just didn't pick it up. She was just like nothing in between an example that she was giving. So we have to remember, this is Mykelti. Mykelti is a pick me. We will not know if it's true or not unless she comes out and says it, because in that interview, this young lady, I forget her name, was very excited that she got like 1 million hits. So of course she had her on again because her channel is monetized. And I don't know if this is like a tidbit, or like you said, she misspoke, or she's exaggerating just so there could be a part 2, because they do quid pro quo. You do my channel and I do your channel. So I saw like a lot of infighting and accusations. First of all, A, we don't know if this is true, right? B, we're entitled to our opinion. I think people were pretty respectful because this is Mykelti. We are not officers, or we're not in the hospital, and we're not taking a victim statement. We're hearing someone who kind of mentioned it like, I like chocolate, okay? With no really deep meaning, no emphasis. That's her. And number 3, season 21 is coming. We don't know if this is a promo. So we could speculate, we could not speculate, but the bottom line is, the real thing that was really troublesome there is the tattletaling. That's very troublesome, because as these children are parentified, so are they not supposed to say, hey, he wants to continually put a fork in the socket? Am I supposed to handle that? Like, you're the parent. So that's the focus, that these 3 mothers, that's how I guess they managed all of these children. Don't tell me, it's almost like you're the parent, you solve it. That's what I found most troublesome, that tattletaling. And then not letting your children come to you with things, that does leave that door open, that if anything bad happens to them, they're never going to tell you.
Right.
And therein lies the problem. Like, you should always have an open relationship. And even as an aunt, I have one, as a friend, someone should always have that safe person that they speak to. But I think this parenting of, oh, I don't want to hear it, it's a difference between saying, oh my God, like my sister would hide my Dawn dolls. And then my grandmother got fed up and like, well, put them where she can't find them. But if I told but I know I could go to my grandmother and say, someone's husband looked at me funny and I don't like it. My grandmother was going to be there like a hawk. Let me see what's going on here. And if she felt that person had any bad feeling, as she would call it, they would not be welcome into our home. And that's the difference that I'm talking about.
Well, because just to address your points succinctly, like, I think that the first part of what you said, like, because I understand that people, and this is where I think this becomes, especially with this subject matter, this is why I take this shit so serious. And these these innuendos, like, I don't think that this is a thing.
That's the word I was looking for, innuendo. I'll say, go ahead.
You could just kind of imply that this happened, because there are people who have suffered through this and they're dealing with that trauma. And then when they hear the innuendo, in order to make sense of the situation, they kind of fill in their story and apply their story and their history onto somebody else. And just the way you explained it just now was exactly what I was thinking as I was listening to Mykelti talk about it, because it was sandwiched between an innuendo and a hyper. It was like an innuendo that this is what happened, a hypothetical. So she
Yes.
said, "Oh well, I would get in trouble." A big thing that I had a problem with was that tattletaling. That was a big
Oof.
issue that I had,
Me
and it
too.
wasn't like I had a big issue because when I was a kid, this terrible thing happened to me, and I went and told it. Nobody wanted to listen to me, and they said, "Call me a tattletaler." It was because I would tell my mom about like somebody taking my dolls or whatever, and they would tell us to go deal with it ourselves. And so, like the example hypothetical she used, if Logan were climbing a 10-foot tree and he looked
Right.
like he was about to fall out, then I would go back and tell, and I would get in trouble for telling. And that
Mm-hmm.
was the first example that she used, which is a
Yes.
hypothetical. And then she said, "Oh yeah," and then she kind of slid in, "Oh yeah," and then there was a time when I was essayed by a neighbor, and I went back and told him, and I got in trouble for that. Whoa, 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 whoa! I don't want to get into specifics because
She said she
I've worked
hadn't
their time.
healed. I didn't even hear neighbor. You know that? I didn't even hear the neighbor. But she
Mm,
said she hadn't healed and it was traumatic. But you dropped the tidbit a
right.
couple of months before season 21, which is why, again, there should be no infighting among the My Take family, because you all need to see the video. It is posted on our our Facebook page, and you could see why some people are doubting it. And especially those, that have those of our members that have suffered through it, it's going to trigger,
Right.
like I said, it was like nothing, like, oh, let me just brush my hair out of my eye, like nothing. I didn't pick it up. So I'm second guessing myself as a mandated reporter. And then I went back and listened to it. I said, okay, I'm not crazy. It was an innuendo.
Well, that and the fact that like another thing you brought up, which I was kind of alluding to earlier, was when the host had mentioned, "Oh, the last time you were on the show, we got two
Mhm.
million views." The way Mykelti's eyes lit up,
Go!
you know what I mean? That's why I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah,
Because she said it way
oh,
out, like she said it like a few minutes. No, like towards the end of it, like leaving you that little cliffhanger.
right, right,
So
yeah."
yeah, but
I
what the
just, it, just-
go
I,
ahead.
it, this whole thing, like, and again, this is where I'm conflicted because I don't want to question, like, when this kind of thing happens, I want to believe everybody,
You
but at
can't, James. You
but at the
can't.
same time, the problem is that if we just say an accusation comes out, we believe everybody. Then when that
Mm-mm.
accusation is disproven or proven to not be true, then all of a sudden it calls into question everything that has been worked for to that point. That's why I say that, like, I understand people want to defend Mykelti and say we got to absolutely believe her because she
No,
came forward
no.
and said it. But at the same time, you have to recognize that if this is proven to not be true, this one case will damage thousands of additional cases because
Exactly.
this will
And
be the example that they use to disprove what they're saying.
right. And just to let you know what the training that we get, when they tell us that they give us like this we need to listen and then ask them questions, as be to determine if we could to do the mandated reporting. So you have to get everything and you have to listen to it. And they go from there. But from a training that we got that was outside of my job, that this is a retired detective he's either from Minnesota or Wisconsin. I can't remember, one of them cold states. That when he retired, he dedicated himself to being he's I don't want to call him a bounty hunter, but he does training. So he does training to law enforcement, to hospitals, on all the information that he's gathered throughout the years on sex trafficking, sexual assault, and questions to ask. And he did say, like, he gave examples where some kid accused his mother, and it was just because he didn't want to go to that school because he was being bullied.
Mhm.
So it's like you can't believe it, you can't believe everything, but it is your job to get as much information as you can. So as you send in that report, you're giving them as much information as you can. It's as the intake, it's not up to you to make the judgment, but you got to sort of make the judgment on just how severe this might be, because they have to investigate everything. So you
Right.
got to get everything out, and social work, really they have we have social workers trained especially for that. So, we get in service because we could get stopped by a patient in the hall. Those of us that are not forward facing patients like me, we could get stopped, especially that I speak another language. So, and I've
Mhm.
gotten stopped. I don't even know how the hell. I guess we all know each other. They know that I speak Spanish because I get stopped by everybody. But if they do, so that's why everyone gets in service. So, you get the information, especially if it's in another language, you're getting as much as you can. You're giving it to the social worker because, there might not be a bilingual social worker, or in the event that because we have language lines. So we just have to make sure. But again, I'm going to reserve judgment, but I'm like erring on the side. This seem coming from her at this time, it does seem like it's a publicity stunt. Like that was my initial reaction, because she does tend to exaggerate. And it would be terrible if it did happen, like she could have been inappropriately touched. And that's all it takes, because no one is allowed to touch your child. That's all it takes. And maybe the parent felt, oh, they didn't do anything. They didn't mean to touch you like that. Again, because of their culture and what they're doing. But the bottom line is until she comes through and says something, we're not going to know. But after I heard you, and I'm like, okay, I'm killing James. I've traumatized, half the My Take family. I put something on Christine's Instagram, and let's see if she answers or one of her people answers. So I pretty much said, your daughter said that she was essayed and you did nothing about it. Is this a
Right.
publicity or something like that? I wrote on her page, because this is not cute. This is something that's very serious. So going to your point, this is why it was so hard to get domestic violence laws on the books. Because when an ex-boyfriend burned down my apartment, they only took it seriously because my dog died in the fire.
Mhm.
That's the only reason they took it. And they didn't even know how to handle it. Is it arson? Is it attempted murder? What was he trying to do? They were just starting the domestic violence laws. They were just starting the orders of protection. Like it had no teeth. And this is what
Well,
happens. So these laws still aren't rock solid. And right now, moving towards getting very strong, the pediatric sexual assault, or just getting them on the books and getting these cases heard. This is what happens. If it's not true, and if someone uses it as an excuse. And that's what makes it harder. And that's why some states or some precincts or whatever, they don't take it seriously. And
well, I
it's
mean, I
and
think it also reflects back to the fact that, uh, as you mentioned or alluded to earlier, that a lot of these laws, and I say this, like I said, you're old enough, you see shit twice. I say this as a person who watched these laws come into fruition.
yeah, both of us.
These laws are not old.
Mm-mm.
Many of these laws are new. These laws are new. Like what do you call it? Acquaintance scrape? That's
Yeah.
new. That didn't pass until the 90s.
Yep.
Okay. When you talk about PFAs, protection from abuse orders, those restraining orders, those
Mm-hmm.
orders to keep people from supposedly from attacking you, that you can get from lovers or people who you live with. Those orders didn't come until the mid 90s, and it actually took a woman to file several restraining orders, have an active restraining order, an active court case against a man who is consistently kicking the shit out of her. And at the last incident that she had, this man beat her down so bad, he stomped her ass out, that she was paralyzed on her left side, and she has feeling on her left side that's paralyzed, and
Mm-hmm.
zero feeling on the right side that she can, that's still ambulatory. And all of this occurred in the presence of a police officer. A cop was standing right there watching this woman get her ass whipped.
What?
Yeah, that all happened while a police officer was
A
standing
police
right
officer
there.
was there. See, and now they pull a gun out for the drop of a hat, but no one stopped this man from almost killing her. Isn't that
Right.
just
He
lovely?
was stomping her ass out. Like he broke her shit up. And the whole thing is that at the time, and this is where like the historical context come in, because at the time, part of what she was hearing, even when she would go back and file for the restraining order, she called the cops. She was doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. It wasn't like she was trying to hide. And she would constantly be told that this is not a criminal matter. This is a civil matter. This is between you and your husband. This has
Yes, that's
nothing
right.
to
They
do with
do it.
us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say a lot of this stuff is fairly new. And when you start talking about SA with children, CSA, this is still something that's relatively new because there was a long time when people did not talk about it.
No, no.
So this is like, that's why I say this is deadly serious. And to your point, I'm sorry, I'm just going crazy again.
Go
But
ahead. Yeah,
to
but
your
I don't
point,
want. Yeah, at least you're a little bit more moderated because I said I killed him. I killed him.
but to your point, like when these allegations come up, I think that there is a duty to you take it serious. You're
Yes.
not saying that I don't believe you. You're merely asking questions to clarify what is actually going on. There's nothing wrong with you trying to figure out what's going on because there are two sides to every coin too. Because there's the side where you potentially have a victim who has been, assaulted, but you also have somebody who is accused of this horrible crime. And to say that that person doesn't have any defense because they were accused of something is also an injustice in and of itself. Because, like you said, I when I first heard it, it does occur to me. And again, this is not a shot on Mykelti. It's just saying, like, it's kind of in the deck. A
Yeah.
card that's in the deck. The reality of it is, this could have been something she just kind of blurted out or said without thinking about the further ramifications and how deep this accusation actually goes. And that's when you gave the example of the young man who didn't want to go to school because he was getting bullied. So he accused his mom. That particular case just kind of puts me in mind of the same thing, where you make the accusation, not thinking like, if this accusation takes root, and you just say it as an aside, like this, like you said, this was an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour interview before they cut it down. Maybe they were talking for 2 hours, and this is like maybe 3 seconds of the conversation where she said
Yeah.
that, not really thinking about it. But this is the part of the conversation that gets focused on because you don't think it's a big deal. You just going to say it. It's something you're going to say, and I'm going to get somebody on my side. But then when people focus on it and it starts to take root, now you're in a situation, especially as the person who made the accusation, where you got to put up and shut up. There's an embarrassment factor. If I come out and say that it wasn't true, or I say I misspoke, then I'm going to look like a fool. I'm going to lose credibility. So you keep the lie going. There's a pressure to keep the lie going or keep the inaccuracy going.
Right. And here's the horrible part out of all of it. That it did happen and no one took her seriously. And maybe that's why she continued to be the wild child, because she didn't know how to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
Or B, she just wanted to say something flippant. Like the sad part is that for us to believe her, something would have really had to happen to her, which is horrible, right? And then it's just as horrible if she said something flippant without thinking about it and didn't go through it, right?
Right.
So it's like this double-edged sword that nobody wins. But, when you start looking at their behavior, the culture they come from, you see her father doesn't really give two craps once you're not a toddler anymore. It would explain a lot of her behavior. It would explain a lot of her relationship with Robin. And then it explains Robin's behavior towards the mothers. Because if Mykelti went to Robin with that, I'm not leaving my kids with any of these heifers because they're not watching my kids. The other kids are watching my kids and I'm not doing it. Right.
Right.
So, it opens up this whole can of worms, but like there's like no, for lack of a better word, there's no winners. Like nothing good comes out of this. It only makes this worse. It makes this family even worse.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and then,
and that's what I was saying on Tuesday. because I can't, like, with this information coming out, like, it's one thing for me to sit there and talk about how Cody and Robin are ripping off Janelle for the house and Cowdy Pass and,
Yeah.
not coming over there, seeing them and not slobbing them down and all that. It's one thing to have that conversation, a little frivolous, but whatever. It's not fair, kind of sucks.
But it's
I
a
get it.
whole nother that you didn't
But
protect your children.
right, if that's what you were doing, then everything else becomes obsolete.
That doesn't mean shit. You're
Right,
absolutely right.
right.
You
I
know,
don't
and
care about
then
that.
I'm looking at Christine because she's the mom even harder. Like, were you so worried about knocking boots that you let these kids raise themselves?
Right.
You
You
know, if you
chasing a
couldn't
man.
handle it,
You
then you
chasing
should
a
have
man.
demanded his time or somebody to help you, or God damn it, use birth control, all of you.
Mm.
You had all these gaggle of kids and you want to make believe, oh, this is so wonderful, this is what I wanted. One person cannot handle 13 kids. Hell, when I babysat my baby cousins, I cut it at 2 because I could run in 2 different directions, grab one and grab the other and go in 2 different directions. I couldn't grab a third one. So either my sister or my cousin were with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and here I am, a teenager, and I have more of a responsible brain than them women. Get the hell out of here. But anyway, any way you look at it, it's just, this is just so, listen, there's no other way to say it. This is just fucked up every which way from Sunday. But again, I'm sorry, guys. I did not catch that. I gave it no credence. So if anybody got triggered, I'm sorry. If someone, maybe I'll just change it and put a trigger warning on it this way. If someone hasn't seen it or they haven't been to the live this today or Tuesday, this way they just don't get freaked out. Because that, it's for us and me, it's so succinct. But for any of our family here that did go through it, it just might be traumatizing. So again, so
Right.
sorry, you guys. James, you just take it easy. We're passionate about this, but none of this giving yourself a heart attack.
Yeah. No, I was just pissed.
All we could do is like what you put up on there now is freaking awesome. So yeah, because I could see it on my TV. Because my phone is little and then I can't see all that. But okay, I'm not gonna talk anymore. I'm gonna give someone else a chance. But just remember, some people don't believe it, some people do. Let's not fight about it because look at the source.
Mm.
So everyone just chill out. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
I
Bye,
heard
y'all.
that. I heard that. Thank you so
Bye.
much, Linda.
Okay, laters.
All right. All right, Linda. Yeah, no, I think that, like, in fairness to Linda, the mention of that, like, as a possibility came up so quick and it was so fast. And it wasn't the focus of any real part of the conversation. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I get it. Like, everybody doesn't want to do interviews the same way, but something like that, like, I don't know how you go from, yes, when I was a child, one of the neighbors had touched me inappropriately. Okay, anyway, let's get back to talking about our favorite colors. Like, like, the conversation has changed at that point. Like, we need to, what are we doing, y'all? But Jody Periscala, she had a $9.99 super chat. She said, Linda, please look up Jacob's Law. One parent didn't tell the other. They were divorced. Father didn't tell mom. I can't believe there had to be a law. I know the family, at least it is in Minnesota law. Usually what happens, if there is a divorce decree or a custody order, those types of things are typically included. You have to pass information as far as, like, especially if something happens with regard to the child, who's going to be around the child, like if there's been any arrests or contacts with police. Usually that's like a standard form, depending on what jurisdiction you live in. It's crazy work that you have a situation where one parent will try to hide or conceal this, but at the same time, this is why it's so important for you to have an independent strong, open communication with your child. It doesn't rely on the other parent. This is why it's so important, because the other parent, especially if it's in the confines of a child custody battle, or child custody, even if it's resolved, technically can always be modified to until that child is 18. You're either in a hot or cold battle. That's the way it works. And this actually could be something that's used against you in that custody battle. So if something is happening to your child at your house, especially because you're allowing certain people to come around or involving certain people with your kids, then that could be something which could impact your ability to see the kids, or visitation, or custody. So from that respect, there's always going to be that pressure for a custodial parent to not inform the non-custodial parent, or vice versa, of incidents that occur in the house. But this is why it's also important that you have that close relationship with your child. And when you talk about like the whole tattletaling thing, like I talked about on Tuesday, and like I've talked about a million times before in other lives and other videos, if one of the key things, like we talk about gut rumen, from the perspective of people trying to, maneuver children into these situations, or people into these situations, the first thing isn't just about building a relationship with the child. It's also the primary reason why they're doing a lot of what they're doing is because they don't want to get caught. And part of the reason why you want to be sure that this person that you are trying to bring into the fold can keep a damn secret and won't run back and tell everybody is because you don't want to get caught. You don't want to get caught. You don't want to get arrested. So no, you want to make sure that they can keep secrets, that they are isolated, that they are pushed away from their parents. And so, and they don't have open communications. They keep secrets, and then you can build from there. And that's how you start getting secrets between the two of you, putting them in compromising situations where you can get them to do the one and. That's why that happens. But the first thing is you trying not to get caught. And that, don't be a tattletale. Like, what the shit are you doing? What are you talking about? Like, I appreciate Linda reaching out to Christine, because this is something that has derailed. I think, in my opinion, this has derailed the entirety of season 21. Because I don't want to watch nobody go to fucking dinner. I don't want to watch nobody sit up there and talk about how they decorating their house and all the nice shit they doing. And nobody's talking about, the fact that you told your kids, especially when you're trying to be, he was such a good dad when he was younger, and he was really involved with the kids. Because now I'm looking at the moms like, if you don't know what a good parent is, if you think telling me a child being going over next door, getting gropped and everything else, and coming back and telling me you calling that shit tattletaling, you have zero basis on being able to decide what a good parent is. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Like, that's just, I just can't get past that shit. I can't. Like, I'm I rode with the OG3 on a lot of stuff, but I can't ride with that. And I'm not, and especially, like I said, I'm looking at season 21, down the long end of season 21. I don't know if I can do season 21. If I'm going to be all the way honest. Because, like I said, I'm not up for the dumb shit. Like, you don't put your kids in that kind of position and then turn around and say, you know what? Cody didn't pay enough attention to me. I was the basement wife. You should have been the wife that moved out. You should have been the damn ex-wife. Cody sitting up there talking to got these boys sitting up there lecturing them about kissing on his daughters and respecting his daughters, and you should be treating her like she's somebody else's wife. And that don't count for the dude next door who trying to slip him. You understand what I mean? Dude that next door trying to play hide the fake, like, fuck you. Like, no. And that's why I'm not a big fan of strangers talking to, like strangers trying to talk a lecture to my kid. You lecture to your kid. You build a relationship with your kid. That's one of the things I was going to talk about with that other video I was going to do. Like, you work with your kid. I'll work with my kid. You work with your kid. Your kid figure out if they want to date my kid or mess around with my kid. But I don't need some man trying to tell my son how to conduct himself. Okay? Because some of these jokers have no idea. But I'm going to step back. Jody Perry Scholar, thank you so much. And I think that if it wasn't a law, it should be a law. Like, that should not be a gentleman's agreement. Basically a handshake agreement where you just, I promise to tell you. No, I think that's a reporting requirement. I think that should be a reporting requirement. If something is happening with my kids, I should know about it. But thank you so much. Yeah, I'm about to get worked up again. Megatron, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey. I'm tardy to the party, but I'm here.
There you go.
I hear you going off. I said, oh, Lord, James is still going off. Because I went back and I watched it. I said, you know what? I'm going to watch it again. I watched the interview the next day, and then I watched it again, and I watched it again this morning. And I don't know for anybody else, but I just kind of felt like when she was saying that about the tattletelling. So Mykelti was a tattletale, and she got in trouble for it a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling like when she was like, yeah, I would rather them overtell me versus, the neighbor touching their, bop. I don't think she was saying that happened to her. But she did follow that up with, well, something did happen, but I'm not healed enough to talk about it. That's what I got. I don't know. Maybe I'm just viewing it wrong.
Right.
But that's kind of what I picked up from it. But also at the same time, Robin that heifer, oh, Lord have mercy. She knew them people were vulnerable. She just hit pay dirt when it came to chances to manipulate, chances to. I mean, I personally think she used that chance to worm her way in there and getting good with those kids. And I think Mykelti she said that, like, oh, Robin knew I wasn't in trouble with her. Yeah, Robin wanted you to tattletale because she wanted to know everybody's business.
Right.
And so, like I said, I don't know. It's Mykelti. And then I'm thinking, you know what I was thinking, James? I was thinking, you know what? What's big in the news now? It's like Mykelti's one of those people, and I know you've met him before, James. I know the audience has met him. Like, if you say, oh man, I broke my leg at work. And then they got to follow up with an old girl. This one time I had, 90-degree burns all over my body. It's like they always got to one up you.
Yeah. We used to call
you ever met those kind of people?
Yeah, we used to call them
Mykelti gives me that. And then I thought about it, like, well, why would she, even if this isn't the case or if it wasn't true, why would she say it? Because the Duggar case is so big and popular and heavy. So now she has to have a story to rival their story. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's get the attention back over here to Sister Wives. Let's get the attention back over here almost.
Right.
I don't know. She's just one of those people that rubs me as if you say, oh man, I had a bad cold. Well, oh man, I almost died from COVID last week. She's one of those that anything you do or say, she's going to have to one up it to feel more important, to feel more whatever.
Right.
So yeah. I'm just like, yeah, I said this how many months ago, James? What I tell y'all? All of them can go in the trash. Every single last one of them can go in the trash can. Just throw them in the trash. The whole family, the kids, all of them. Just trash them. Trash them.
Yeah, well, because, I mean, part of the problem is just the fact that, I could see the struggle. Like, I see the, like, because between Mykelti and her husband, Tony, they're doing a lot of interviews and they're putting themselves out. And I'm not bashing them for that because God bless them. They putting their hustling, they getting their grind on, you know. Um, but at the same time, it is very like it's just something about it. Like it's just the way it was talked about, the way it was addressed,
Yeah.
the way it's kind of like it does put me into that thing of like I don't want to be that guy
Be
that
that guy,
questions,
James. Be
but at
the
the same
guy.
time, I have to be that guy because I'm
Because we
I
all
just
know
have
what you finna
questions.
say. We
Yeah, I have
already know it.
questions, and it just doesn't feel right. Like it. This is the like I
No,
use the
this is
example.
a pick me moment where the Duggar case is getting so much traction and so many headlines and so many click what they say click and all the other crap. Now she got to come out with that. Listen, these
Well, I mean,
now you
it's a situation where this is a hot topic. It's somebody I think it was Wendy had mentioned the Amber Heard case, and during the time when Amber Heard came out and made her accusations against Johnny Depp, that was because the it was such a hot topic that she was able to glom onto that topic and take advantage of
bandwagon it,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
and take that shine. And even though CSA is something that's being talked about frequently in both political and criminal justice arenas. You have a lot of focus, especially on like the female teachers and their inappropriate actions, so on and so forth. And it's actually being pushed out as a thing. I think that there is you know, and excuse the phrasing of this, but there's a certain sexiness to this topic now, and it's repugnant that it's that way because the people who try to use it for
yeah,
advantage are
yeah,
putting themselves in a situation where you're trying to get benefit of saying that you're a victim, but you're not dealing with any of the actual trauma and life
right.
experience of being that victim. You want all the good part of like the attention,
The
the
attention, yeah,
money, and everything else. But
mhm.
you're not dealing with the, what I mean, you're not questioning
Are
yourself,
you
your
going
relationships,
into
your ability
like
to be able to decipher, discern between good intentions and bad intentions, because the person that you trusted or should have been able to trust is the very person who did this thing to you. You're not dealing with any of that shit,
right?
and so
Because
that's when I start
honestly,
thinking it's really
James,
serious.
it sounds like to me like okay, back to the Duggar stuff. It is in house. Okay, if something did happen to her, I'd feel like 95% chance that it was within the family, and that's why she was accused of quote unquote tattletelling. I don't
Or
think
somebody close to the family. And I
yeah,
don't give a
somebody
shit. That's
somebody
no, no,
close
no,
to the
no.
family.
You know what? No, man, you know what? Because right there, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck if it's your family members, your uncle, your brother, your cousin.
That part
I don't care. Because when push comes down to shove, nobody is more important than you protect your right and your duty to protect your children. So
exactly.
if you are getting some advantage, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you're getting some advantage because the guy next door, maybe he can give you a deal on siding or he could get your concrete done. And so you let that mug come in there and grope on your child in exchange for that, then you should never be around another child a day in your life.
Right.
No, I'm
You
dead ass
don't need to
serious.
be breathing no air
Right.
that I
Because you in
breathe.
the skillet with their ass. If I
You
look, I'm
understand?
telling you, if it was my kids, and I'm getting pissed again, but if it was my kids and I find out somebody covering for them or excusing it, you in there
You're
with that.
just as bad.
Yeah, go
You're
over there with your
worse.
friend. Go over there with your friend because there's no way in the world. Oh, I didn't want to create no problem. That shit is not tattletaling. That's you telling
No.
me what's going on. You know,
That's why I
I just
say it
yeah.
felt like you know how well James, you say you have families in the South. You know they had an old saying. You know what happens in this house stays in this house. That was the mantra we heard growing
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
don't tell the family business and that kind of stuff. And for so many years and for so long, that mindset kept the creepy uncle that still wanted you to sit on his lap. You're 17 years old, man. That's the kind of I had a friend. Her uncle was that way. you know,
Mhm.
and especially when he was drinking. He was real bad. Oh, come on, give me a hug, give me a hug. And in my personal situation, that actually was the situation. I was staying at a friend's house, and it was a, you know, family function or whatever, and it was the uncle. Well, it was no, as soon as it happened where he attempted, the attempt was there. And I made a comment like, hey, y'all better get this man because he, you know, dot, 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 dot. And I vividly remember her grandma saying, oh, baby, you just read too much into that. He ain't like that. And I'm just like, hold on now. I didn't read too much into it, and he did do it like that. Now I'm
Right.
getting ready to call my dad, and this is about to be the 4th of July because he
Right. It's
finna
about to be a
set it
different
off.
situation.
You
Right.
understand? So y'all either gonna do something about it right now, or I will be calling my dad.
Mhm.
And it was one of those situations where I was basically quote unquote bullied into, oh, I didn't mean no harm. Oh, he didn't mean no harm. And then it was the little punk ass, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I ain't buying that. And I called my dad anyway,
Right.
you know. And so it was one of those where it ended up turning into the 4th of July out there, you know. But I just, again, I'm not one of those people to like dwell on things and hold my life because, you know, because of that situation, James, I didn't get that job I applied for. You know, it's like you always have to blame something for a situation that you've been through it. You come out on the other side, you're a better person for it. Let's move on. Like, let's not try to wallow in stuff for attention. And I feel like something did happen to her, but she's using this as, like you said, a way to make money.
Mm.
And it's I don't know. I just, these people, listen, trash them all. Trash them all, James. I can't do it. I'm not going to. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm still reeling from, like you said, that interview was just, oh yeah, this has happened. And then she floats on and she's giggling and I'm just like, that ain't nothing to be giggling about.
Right. Well, I
So
mean,
I don't
again,
know.
it's
I'm
deadly
curious.
serious because she's also, whether she recognizes it or not, like you threw your mom and them clean under the fucking bus. Like they are clean under the bus.
Listen,
You know
they
what I mean? Because
they
you
gonna
just
have to hire
basically said
somebody.
that they knew about it, didn't do anything about it. Like that's not just, that goes beyond just, oh, they
Yeah,
were parentifying us and this, that, and other. That's well beyond that.
yeah.
That's well beyond that. You know what I mean?
And even
Especially
like
if they're
when
coming
she
to
was talking about how she's teaching her children appropriate names for things, and I agree wholeheartedly because I actually had that argument with my ex-husband about that same situation, you know, teaching the kids correct body parts. Like, I 100% agree with that. And when I worked in daycare, that's actually a training that we take. I think it was called teddy bears training. But
right.
that was one of the first thing they said was children have to know the correct names for parts because I guess a kid was coming to daycare saying, "Oh, my dad ate my biscuit, my stepdad ate my but the whole time she was talking about something else, her privates.
Right.
And so, yes, 100% agree. Teach your kids, but at the same time, you're not gonna be tattletaling every 2 seconds because, you know, I have twins, girl and a boy. And yes, they got on each other's nerves. Yes, they fought over toys. Yes, they fought over things. That is something y'all two need to work out. But at the same token, you still can teach them not to be little tattletellers, but at the same time, have a relationship and a bond with your children. And they know they can come to you with anything that's serious. Don't come to me with that BS because he touched you or he looking at me. Yeah, I don't got time for that.
Right. Well, I
But
mean,
if
I
it's
think that
something serious like that,
there's
yes.
also a point of discernment. Like you're teaching your kids how to discern between big things and little things. And if
Right.
it's just you're having a disagreement with your sister or your brother, you know, you guys have to figure that out because part of that too is you have to be able to learn how to work through your relationship without
Exactly.
involving me. And that goes beyond, like, if you got siblings, you got at home training to do it, because you're going to go out in the street and I can't go out and regulate you playing with little Tommy down the street and he want to play basketball, you want to play action figures. You can't come tell me to come down there and tell Tommy he got to put the ball down and pick up a GI Joe. Right? You
Yep.
got to be able to work that shit out between the two of you. Now, if
Right.
little Tommy's trying to play hide the fingers in your ass, then yeah, you come and tell me about
That
that shit.
part. That
You
part.
understand what I mean? Because we're not doing that. That's
Yeah.
not tattletaling. But you're also, it's also, let's be very clear. This isn't a one conversation thing. And you're also not saying to them, under no circumstances do you bother me. And that's where it becomes problematic.
Yeah.
Because if for her to feel that way, that would have to be the underlying message. If you are going through some shit, leave me out of it. That's
Right.
what that would mean. Like, no tattletaling. That's what that says to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the context of the way she's describing it. That's not, oh, well, something happened and I went and told my mom and I got in trouble. Like, and she said that. Like, she did say that.
Yeah,
Like,
she did say that.
And they got on her about telling. Like, that is a problem.
Yeah.
So no, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Again, it's going to be hard for me to sit there and listen to them complain about oh, well, I hear Cody took Robin out to a fancy restaurant. At this point, I don't give a shit.
I don't want to see Cody baptizing no damn body. And you sit there and got a whole child that was scared to tell y'all something happened to her. Because, listen. But then, too, also that showed me, too, James, it showed me their lack of socialization in the real world. That's how unsocialized these people are. That you can't even as a child. Well, I think she said she was, but then too, I don't know. She said she had her first kiss, but then just how the hell was talking about she had her first kiss at 7, but she said it was against her will. Then she doubled back and said she had her first kiss willingly at 15. Then she goes to talk about how promiscuous she was and all these people she dated. And I'm just like, I don't know this fucking interview. I gotta watch this shit again because she's all over the map here.
Right.
So I'm just like, something more than likely. I don't know, Jay. I'm telling you, these people are not gonna work me. But I just pray for healing for her, and I'm not even gonna pray for the rest of them because I just don't even know what I'm even praying. The Lord go say, Tammy, please quit calling me about these people because you don't know if you don't know, I don't know.
Right. And that's part of the problem. We don't know what's going on because they will never tell us.
They don't know. But you see how they can say something in a way to where you don't really know what the hell they just said. I feel like, Chris Tucker, what the hell did you just say? Be clear. She's not being clear here, and it's not fair to quote unquote the viewers because it's like, oh, we're upset, But then at the same time, I give it another week. She's going to come back. She's going to let this marinate for a week or two, then come back. Oh, that's not what I meant. You guys misconstrued me. Or if somebody sees her in, the Costco or some shit and want to offer, condolences and, trying to be there for her, and she going to pull a Mary and cuss the viewers out. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to mind your business. Be clear. You're not being clear. Like, I don't know. But Linda said Christine didn't answer. What happened with Christine?
What do you mean? Oh, because Linda sent a message to Christine on her page, like, this is what your daughter is implying. Like, do you have anything to say about it? Because basically, again, it's throwing Christine under the bus because she would have been the one that she went and complained to.
Right.
And be told that, we don't be tattletaling. And especially if you put that in lighter context of Christine during the UNLV discussion, when she said, I had no idea that men could be such bastards. Like, if your child is coming to you and be like, yeah, this dude next door is trying to, slip and dip, and you sit there saying, well, I had no, like, then there is a difference between you being ignorant to a thing happening and you being willfully ignorant, where you're shoving your head in the sand, pretending like it's not happening. because it makes you feel uncomfortable. So, but let me,
Yeah.
I might have to jump to the next caller.
Okay, James. But
But
I'm gonna keep listening, y'all. Maybe we can y'all can figure it out. I'm gonna just chill and because I'm confused.
I'm gonna fall back on it. Yeah. I'm gonna fall back.
Because I'm confused. But all right, good night, y'all.
All
See
right.
y'all Saturday.
All right, Megatron, take it easy.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Megatron makes some good points. Like I'm trying not to go crazy, but it's just like it just bothers me. Like this whole thing bothers me. It bothers me. Like I want to give her the room, and that's the thing too. Like I also don't want to force people who aren't ready to come out and tell their story to tell their story. But maybe we can get into that too. One was it number 5 on my caller discussion questions, like should deeply personal family trauma become part of a public conversation? And I guess to that end, how much responsibility does somebody who is in the spotlight have? Because when you mention it, like it's not the same thing as somebody who, a neighbor child or somebody in a community who is saying that this thing happened. When you're a public figure and you say that this happened, you're going to be looked at, and people are going to ask questions. They're going to want to know answers. They want to hear specifics. And you not having those answers or trying to hide or conceal or maybe not share, then maybe it's not the best for you to even mention it in a public setting if you're not ready. Like how much responsibility do you actually have? Carmel Cuties with $5 super chat said, I said it that no way do you play with the subject. Healed or you healed, I feel. Why bring it up if you aren't ready to speak on it? I'm kind of in that same place. I'm glad you said it. But yeah, I'm in that same place. Like if you're not ready to talk about it, don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. Because it puts you in a situation where you're not ready to talk about it, especially if you're doing it publicly. And this story is going to take off and people are going to ask you questions about it. And if you're not ready to talk about it, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going to constantly be asked about it and you're not ready. You're not ready. So you will find kindness where people will try to understand, but too much hesitation. It's just a weird, like it's a weird this has such a weird dynamic to it. I don't know. But thank you, Carmel Kitty. And again, I'll go on record as saying that if it comes out that this is something that you're just using for clickbait, like I think that this ruins it ruins any possibility that I'm overlooking anything else that you do. Like I will be done with somebody who lies about this because it's so impactful, especially when you do have a big public platform and you come out and you say something that's not true because you are doing so much damage. Just to recap something I said earlier, then I'm gonna jump to Amy and Daryl. If you want to call back in, something that I said earlier. Not only are you damaging any prospect of your case and your credibility, if you are deceptive with this, you're damaging other victims or survivors who have undergone this because when they come out and tell their story, they may not, the cops and the people who listen to them tell their story may not ever hear the thousands, tens of thousands of other stories that are similar to this, that are true. The one that they're going to remember is the one that was lied about. And not only are they going to remember the one that was lied about and fabricated on, but you're also creating a way for somebody who potentially is victimizing these people because they can't get justice, you're also allowing for future victims to occur. So again, this is why it's so important that we kind of gatekeep a little bit as far as like just running out blindly believing people when they make these accusations without asking questions, without following up, without getting additional information, because the stakes are too high for us just to pretend that, okay, if I believe them, we just going to move like they're telling the truth 100% of the time. And then if we find out they're not telling the truth, no harm, no foul. The problem is that if we find out they're not telling the truth, then there's insane harm. There's insane fouls because we're not only creating an environment where somebody potentially could have their life ruined if they're falsely accused, but we're creating an environment where people are going to be doing things, getting away with it, and doing it again and again and again and again, creating more and more victims until it finally comes around that that person is able to be stopped. So that's why I say, like, I take this, like these accusations, I take them very seriously. I don't really like the idea of innuendos or implying that this may have happened and I'm gonna step back and let you guys figure it out. And then if it goes wrong or people get too close, I'm gonna just say that you guys misunderstood or you heard it wrong. Like that is not going to be a defense to me. I'm just telling you, like right now, I'm going on record as saying, moving forward, if she doesn't come out and clarify now that it was some kind of mistake or she misspoke or we're misinterpreting, now is the time to say that. Don't go 6 months, do 15 interviews about it, and then tell somebody, oh yeah, somebody came up and asked me about it. I told them they got it all wrong. That shit is not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. But we had Ty with the $5 super chat. Said just peeking in to say the PR team is losing their stuff. And let's see how they turn this around. Because I don't know if there is a comeback for this fumble. Yeah, I don't know. I have zero interest in watching Cody and Robin go to dinner and talk about how much they're in love with each other if y'all were allowing this type of shit to happen in your house. I have zero interest watching Christine and David decorate a rental property if y'all was allowing people to come over and do this to your kids and they getting in trouble for telling you. I have zero interest in listening to Aida Farms or watching Janelle build her new house or watch Mary Globetrot and go on like mass dates if this is what was going on, because ultimately this story involves 4 adults, none of which are Robin. Okay. This story involves 4 adults. The 3 moms that we give a lot of credit to as being good moms and looking out for the kids and caring about the kids. That whole storyline is undercut by that one story from Mykelti. Because you can't tell me that you looking out for your kids and you letting this shit go on. Sorry, not sorry. So, but good point. Yeah, if you go into the PR offices of Sister Wives, you could probably make some wigs because everybody in there pulling their damn hair out at the roots. Because this is gonna blow season 21 up. Because like I said, I don't know how you watch the show. The show is essentially, to me, is almost unwatchable at this point. Unless they address this particular issue, the show is unwatchable. Ty with the $2 super chat says starting a hashtag. Dang, Mykelti, for your information, 1 weekend marketing. 1 week in marketing, all right? I'm going to bring in some interest into the show. Or bring interest into herself. All right, and we have Amy. What's going on, Amy? How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is the first time I ever spoke to you. I've watched you so fucking much. Sorry.
No,
Effing
welcome
much.
to the show. Thank you for calling in.
I have never spoken to you before, but I watch everything you do. First of all, love the show, love everything you do. This is Mykelti. If it had came from any other child in the group, other than Peyton, I would not be skeptical.
Oh, that's fair.
But Mykelti continues to do this whole thing where she was so mistreated and nobody liked her and everybody was against her. And honestly, I really don't see that too. I mean, I understand that she was different than the other kids,
Mm.
and that's fair and validating. But in the interview, she she brought it up like a whim, like it was like, oh yeah, this happened, and I'm like, That's not how people actually talk about that."
Right.
Um, it seems very weird to me, and I'm not saying I don't believe her. Goodness knows, the whole no tattling thing. I get why they did it. They did it to please Cody
Mm.
because he was at the house once every 3 days or whatever it was, and nobody wanted to make trouble for him. So, yeah, no tattling. And that is horrible because absolutely children should be able to tell everything that they're feeling. But with this, it just seems so out there that, and again, McKelty always talks about how, she was so mistreated and she was so different from the rest of her family and everything. And Robin was the only one that understood. I do believe that Robin played her big time on that, but I don't really see that reflected in the show very much.
Mm.
I know that Christine has said that McKelty had her problems, but I don't really. I mean, other than Mary getting on her about the shirt that was too low, which whatever. Yeah, for their family, yeah, that was pretty low.
Mm.
Um, I don't. Not. I'm not saying I don't believe her, and God knows if this happened to her, bless her heart, and I wish revenge on the person that did it. But this was so flippant and it was so thrown out that I'm 52 years old. I have never heard anybody talk about a situation like that in that way. You
Mm.
know,
Right.
I,
Right.
I've you know, I had a creepy Uncle Curvin. He always tried to kiss us and put his tongue in our mouth.
Mm.
And you know, it was gross and we talked to the parents and they kept him away from us. You know, I just this was and to this day I have a hard time like describing it and saying how I came up to my mother with it and all that. But she was just so like, this happened and I got in trouble for tell. I don't know that that's true. And again, if this happened to her, fuck that guy and I hope he dies and all that. But it's something sits wrong with me about it. And I just kind of, I am I the only one that just sits kind of wrong? And she
No, no,
goes
it's
on
just
about why her relationship with Robin was the way it was. Now, I do believe that McKelty was a middle child. She was a middle child who probably felt invisible. She probably did things to make herself visible. I think that Robin saw that and said, okay, well, this is somebody that I can bob onto. And that's, I mean, if it helped Mykelti when she was young, that's great. That's great. But I think that's the wrong conversation to have. I think the situation with Mykelti goes a little deeper. I, again, something just doesn't sit right with me about it, and I hate that because I want to believe victims, period. But I saw the video, I saw the interview, and it was not. It didn't. It didn't sit right with me,
Right.
and I hate that. I hate that about me. And if she, oh my God, if that little hussy is playing,
Well, because
I
here's
want to
the thing.
strangle her.
Here's the thing. I think that when it comes down to it, if Robin came into the family, because I could see a situation where Robin comes into the family and she wants to break down the barrier of the idea of no tattletaling because she's bringing kids into
Hmm.
the family too. I'm not bringing my kids
Hmm.
into a family where they're going to be reprimanded because they come and tell you that somebody, Joe next door, tried to touch them the wrong way. That's not going to happen. That shit's not going to work for me. So
Yeah.
I would come in and do that. Now, if Robin did that part of it, God bless her from that respect. Hats off to Robin because she did the right thing. The problem that I have is what
Absolutely.
kind of what you said earlier, and I think I mentioned it earlier, is that the way she talked about it, it seemed like something that like I've told the story before about you know, when you put out projects like movies or whatever, people don't know necessarily that this is going to be the big part of the movie. You understand what I mean? So like for instance with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he did Terminator, and he had the one line where he said, "I'll be back." And they had a huge ass argument about the whole "I'll be back" line and whether he should say "I will be back." And they didn't think anything about it because it was just a throwaway line. But that line, for whatever reason, the audience globbed onto that line, and that became a major part of that film. Right. So much so
Yeah.
that Arnold repeated that line in almost every movie that he did after that. Right. And I kind of felt the
Yeah.
same way about the comment with the SA stuff because it wasn't something that she intentionally brought up to share. Like, this is something that happened to me, and I want to let people know this is what was going on. I'm getting a little bit of feedback from the phone.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, it's no worries. But this is something that happened, and I want to talk about it. It was kind of like as an example of a bigger point that she was trying to make with regard to uh I want to talk about how I didn't like the idea that I couldn't tattletale. And here's one example: Logan would be doing something wrong. I would get in trouble. And here's another example. By the way, I was next door and somebody CSA'd me, and I came back and told, and I got in trouble. But it wasn't the fact that she was revealing that she was being CA'd, it was the fact that she got in trouble for tattletaling. And I think that's the part that kind of rubs people the wrong way, if that makes sense. I think.
Again, I can kind of understand in a way um, the way their system, which I think is horrible and deplorable and sick and wrong, um, the way their situation was set up. Of course, of course, of course, the the mothers would not want the kids coming to Cody all the time with, oh, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other, because they wanted him to come around. They, everything was about him. oh, we've got to be good while he's here. Don't talk about shit. Don't talk about shit. And again, because of polygamy being what it is, we have to talk about the polygamy in general. Yes, it is a breeding ground for CSA. It really is.
Hmm.
And I can't say that Mykelti is doing a false equivalency, you know, because of what we know about polygamy. And that's the problem. That's the problem for me. I know that Mykelti has some issues that is are uniquely hers. They are not to do with her family or anything. She has some problems that are uniquely Mykelti. She is messy. She exaggerates. She sees, I believe, now this is my opinion, I think she sees the sympathy that the children get and she globs onto that as I was the most. I was the most abused. I was the most mistreated. I was the most. I don't think that's true. But when you're talking about the CSA, whenever you're talking about polygamy, you have to kind of take that seriously. And so I think that she put us all in this weird dichotomy where we have to kind of look at the society, but then we have to look at Mykelti. And sometimes it just doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, the way she spoke about it did not strike me as genuine. Um, it just didn't. But I'm not saying it didn't happen to her because I have this problem in my brain where, okay, yeah, she lived in a polygamous world, and that is super common in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if anybody's polygamist in this group, but you have to admit it's a breeding ground. So I'm like, okay, I don't believe her, but I know that it's possible, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, I think that there's a difference though, because there's a difference between acknowledging that this is something that could occur in a community, but then you automatically don't get credit or credited for undergoing it just because you're part of a community that this happens in.
True. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's my whole internal struggle. You know, I want to give grace, but with Mykelti specifically, I can't. Because I remember in the show many, many times where Cody and Christine specifically would go out of their way to place Mykelti in the forefront. When she wanted to be a fashion designer, for instance, and
Mhm.
they took her to a fashion designer. And now I do remember the whole Mary, kind of complaining about her shirt being too low. But, that is kind of the place they lived. I mean, that wouldn't have been unusual for Mary. And oh,
Well, I
I
mean,
got.
there's also because even with regard to that, there's a difference between your child walking out of your house going to the mall and your child being
Mhm.
on national TV.
Yeah.
So if your kid goes to the mall, you might, you don't care if they wear like a mini or whatever, a tank top or whatever, and maybe it doesn't bother you. But when you know that they're going to be in front of millions of people, and some of those people are going to sexualize your child, then you might become a lot more conservative with the approach. That's why I think there was such a because Mykelti had said at one point, these are outfits that I wore before, and it's so now all of a sudden because we're on TV, they're pretending like it's a big deal. It is a big deal because you're on TV,
Exactly.
and situations have changed.
Well,
So I'm
that's
not
a whole
mad at
thing.
that.
That's a whole thing. That's a whole thing about Mary. Uh, okay. I do not believe I could be friends with Mary. Honestly, I don't because she is somewhat abrasive, and that's not my job. That's not my. No, I want somebody that's just going to jive. She's abrasive, but I think Mykelti has also kind of trashed Mary's name unfairly. Um, I mean, I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't care for Mary. Like I said, I could not be friends with Mary. Could not because I've seen the way she treats people, and I'm like, no, that could not be me. I would no. But I think sometimes in the situation that Mykelti talks about Mary, that might be normal parenting. You know, I mean,
Right, right.
yes, Mary is particular, and I get that because I mean, I was raised by a single mom, and sometimes we had roommates and things like that who were more strict than my actual mother was. So I kind of get that, and I don't see it as something abusive as Mykelti does. There are some people who are more particular than other people. Again, like I said, I could not be friends with Mary because no, you ain't gonna talk to me the way she talked to Christine sometimes. But but I get in the parental situation where she could just be the heavy because other parents refuse to be the heavy. You know?
Right.
I
Well, I mean,
mean,
it's different style. Like, because I think that's part of it too. Is just that different people have different parenting styles, and it's just learning to accommodate those styles. And even as a child, just because you like the way that one parent treats you, that doesn't necessarily
mhm.
translate that the other parents have to try to become that one parent in their parenting style. You understand what I mean? Like, so if you have somebody who maybe you go over mom's house and she lets you go out and you could come home whenever you want. You could bring girls back to the house and sleep with them up in your room. And mom is the greatest because she treats me like an adult. You go over to dad's house, no, you got a curfew. If you go upstairs, the room, first of all, there ain't nobody need for somebody to be in your room. If some reason that somebody is in your room, the door don't close. You have rules here. Then yeah, the kid is going to look at one parent different than the other parent and say that it's not fair. And I go over dad's house, I'm being abused and controlled. But you just have
Hey,
rules. Those are
see
rules. It's not you being
exactly.
controlled. They're being a parent.
See exactly. That's what I'm saying about Mykelti. She has all but accused Mary of being abusive.
Right.
Now, again, I don't care for Mary. I know that if I were to meet her in person, I probably would not like her. It's just a thing. It's just my style, my vibe, you know. But I don't feel like Mary was abusive. Even in Christine's book, the situation with Mykelti needed a dime or whatever, and Mary got huffy about it. Well, no, I don't think I would throw a fit about that, but I understand that some other parents would. You know, I understand that Mary likes things the way she likes things. And so I don't feel that was super abusive. And so when Mykelti throws around the word abuse, it doesn't quite mean the same, if that
Mm.
makes sense. It's like, okay, but you thought, her getting onto you because she liked things certain ways was abusive. Okay.
Well, I mean, anyway,
Okay.
because the story you're talking about with the whole story thing, and I got to let you go because I got somebody else on the line, but the whole story thing you're talking about with going down to the store and not having enough money, I wouldn't like that shit either. Because I don't want my kids down. Like, if you go to the store, I want you to have money when you go to the store. I don't want you to
Exactly.
go into the store looking for somebody to help you out, and I'm gonna go in there and pick up a bunch of shit that I can't afford. And when I get in line, somebody behind me is gonna kick in some money to help me pay for it. No, if you can't afford it, like, and this also goes into like being a good steward as far as your money. If you can't afford a thing, then you don't buy it. You know what I mean? You
Exactly.
wait, you save, you get later. But it's just teaching like your kids pride, is teaching them how to be good stewards as far as their money is concerned, not putting themselves in a situation, especially in an environment where you are surrounded by polygamists and you giving advantage to people and owing people favors who will take advantage of those favors. I give you a nickel
Exactly.
or a dime or a dollar, I might expect a return on that money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So no, I don't want you in a situation where these men are thinking that they can buy you for a couple pennies on a dollar. No, you know what I mean? So I can see why Mary may have
Exactly.
said some stuff, but that's not, again,
Exactly.
that's, to me, that's not abuse. Like, I'm saying I
Me
don't like
neither.
something is not me abusing you. That's you know what I mean. That's just, it is what it is.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I said, again, I don't like Mary. I don't think that I could be friends with her as a person. But the thing, she has been accused by two of the children now of abuse. I mean, Peyton said way worse things about her. And I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to get into that. But I understand she was particular. She wanted the family to look a certain way and to act a certain way, and she didn't want screaming children all over her house, tearing up all her stuff. I understand that. I, I mean, she had one child. Now, I do think, and I might be getting a bunch of backlash about this, I do think that Leon was totally spoiled 100%. And if you go back and look at the earlier seasons, he was completely spoiled because they had that weird thing about Mary getting exactly the same amount of money as the other people, even though they had 6 kids apiece, and she only had one, which was ridiculous. But that's polygamy. I'm not okay. That's how they chose to do their polygamy, but
Right.
to me, that screams. I mean, Leon was spoiled. I I don't. He's probably not still spoiled because of all the things that's going on, but he was when he was a child. He was completely spoiled, and yeah. Um, so I can understand there are kind of nuances to the whole family situation, but as far as the no tattling goes to abuse, I'm just really not sure. Like I said, I can understand the mother saying, "Okay, no tattling. Oh, Dad's gonna be here tonight. Y'all don't bring a bunch of crap to him. We want him to come back. We want him to be here. Y'all
Well,
behave."
no.
But I don't think.
Only thing I would disagree on that is if dad gonna come around, dad need to be involved.
Oh
And
yeah,
if
well
there's a
I
problem
agree,
or
but
issue,
I understand how they thought of it.
right? But if there's an issue, then dad needs to be involved. If
Absolutely.
the child next door, if somebody is doing something to your child, you don't keep me in the dark because you're trying to create a pleasant experience for me. I need to know what's going on. Now, with regard
Yeah.
to, I will give you this. I will give you this because I think this is where you were going. Don't be sitting here bickering because you want
Yeah.
to argue about Barbie dolls and shit, and this man is only here for one day, and we spending all our time arguing about Barbie dolls. I get that. I agree with that. Like I can
See,
see that. But
see, that's what I'm
if
thinking.
we need to
I'm.
have a serious conversation, you flunking out of school, you not attending classes, you getting in arguments, you getting bullied, you getting essayed. These are conversations dad need to be a part of. And if he can't do it, then stop having all the damn kids you got and start taking care of the ones you have.
Well, but yeah, you see, that's what I'm saying. I think that the no tattling because we need to keep dad safe. Now this is all about Cody. Fuck him. You know, um, I think this is 100% about Cody and their beliefs at the time.
Right.
They don't want anything to fuck with Cody's time at their house. Nothing, nothing,
Well, I
nothing
mean,
can
that's
mess with
Cody's
that.
fault to a point, but this is where I
That
say this
this is the
story,
women's fault.
yeah, this
No, this
story
is the
breaks it.
women's fault.
Right.
No, you did this. You signed up for it. I'm sorry. I know. Okay, okay. I know that Mary and Christine were raised in it. Janelle fucking baffles me, and I don't think she gets as much shit as she should. I'm sorry. Because, I mean, like I said, Christine, raised in it, again, polygamy royalty or whatever. Mary, raised in it, understandable. She, they do not really understand a different way.
Well,
We can talk about Robin. We can talk about Robin, but I think that's a whole different. I don't think she was really raised in it. I think she was kind of just raised as a mistress's kid. But besides that, besides all of that, I think that maybe, I mean, I do understand how the no tattling can be traumatic for the children, even if it is just about, oh, she took my Barbie. That can still be harmful for the child because you're not listening to them. I think that it probably, especially in their religion, can move to the CSA. I don't believe it so much in Mykelti's case. I'm gonna withhold judgment and see what happens. See if she talks more about it. See how I feel then.
fair play. Fair play.
But it is still just the culture that is so wrong and sick.
Well, I mean, look.
And
The bottom line is that I give a lot of credence and I give a lot of deference to people's cultural differences. However, if your culture involves the CSA or abuse of children, then your culture is not fit to allow you to be a parent.
see,
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's okay because this is the way they were raised. So we can
exactly.
overlook the fact that a child is coming to you with an issue as serious as CSA, and we're going to pretend like you chasing after a man is more important because that's what your mama told you. I'm not doing that. I'm not going down that road. Like some things I will compromise on, some things I can be open-minded about. I on this part of it, I refuse to be open-minded about it. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for people who are. If your kid is coming to you and saying that this is what happened to me, and you tell them to shut up because it's going to make you it's going to inconvenience you or make you uncomfortable, and it's going to make your time with your boyfriend uncomfortable, then fuck you. You don't need to be around children. Full stop.
Absolutely. See, that's another thing, and it bothers me specifically about Christine. Um, her book, it like seriously glorified her childhood. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's great, but what about the Netflix show that we just got, or Amazon, I'm not sure, about dude who was messing with all the kids and marrying all the kids and nothing. I think the season 21, Christine should be forced to talk about some of the war and justice situation. The, what is it, Samuel, whatever his name was, that just came out. Trust me, I'm a prophet.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is
I think she should be forced to acknowledge that and speak about it, because we can go back to early in Sister Wives and we can talk about how, you know, oh, these people that she loves so much now, her aunt that was a part of the group that helps people get away from polygamy. Oh, well, that was just an evil hussy. She was a witch, you know. Well, no, you were wrong, and now you know you're wrong. So why are we not acknowledging that?
Right. Well, I mean, the problem is that if this is that's why I say this story unravels everything, because if this is something that your daughter came and complained to you about before, then
Exactly.
you knew it was something that was happening in the church and you chose to ignore it. But let me
Well,
let you
no,
go. I gotta bounce to some other callers.
okay. Thank you
All right, no
again.
worries.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. It was a good conversation. All right, that was Amy. Oh, we had some super chats. Let me hit those real quick, and then we'll jump right to Nada. We had James. Please play the Just Scrapping song on our exit. I will. Darlene Hall gifted 5 My Take on Reality memberships. Thank you so much, Darlene. Trying to keep the party going. I appreciate it. That's for those that don't know or gifted the memberships. That's for or interested in a membership. That's for our Saturday open forum phone call that happens Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We have a good time. Usually it's supposed to be 2 hours, but a lot of times it goes beyond the 2 hours, way beyond the 2 hours. But we have really good conversations during that time. It's open forum. So basically I pull up as many people as I can and we just talk about whatever we talk about at the time. All right. Keeping the party going. Then we had a Caramel Cuties with the $10 super chat. I see in chat Caramel Cuties. Why would Robin marry Cody if she knew about all that happened with Mykelti? Shady as fuck, if you ask me. As long as they courted, gonna call it at 5 p.m. my time because I got a ton to say. Please wait for me. Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, if somebody came to me and was like, I was going to marry into a family and I'm bringing kids. And that's the thing that we have to keep in mind. If I'm Robin, I'm bringing kids into a family and I'm marrying into this family. And one of the kids who already exist in a family comes forward and says, yeah, this terrible thing happened to me. And I got in trouble because I mentioned it. That right there would be enough for me to be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull the ripcord on this, baby girl. We're going to go down to the police station. We filed a report, me and you. And then you could just call me Mr. James after that because, I'm not joining this. I'm not joining this circus. But yeah, thank you so much, Caramel Cuties. You can color me out because there's no way in the world I'm bringing my kid into this shit. But we got Nada. What's going on, Naja?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so well, one, thank you for who I was waiting for a while, and I'm glad that there's still some time. I have a few notes, so I promised to make time for other folks if they want to call in too. The first thing that I want to say is so I am a trained blah blah blah. I
You do this professionally. You have
yes,
professional ties to it. Got you.
I am
Got
yes,
you.
okay.
We don't have
And
to get in
yeah,
specifics. I got you.
yes. Okay. So I have to remind myself that processing any kind of trauma will be a unique experience for
Hmm.
each person. And
Right.
so as much as I believe that Mykelti is messy and I don't like that chick, I don't like the way she walked, the way she talked, nothing about her. I can still make space for if something bad happened to her that was awful. And
Mhm.
I should make space to be open to believing and hearing her story. That doesn't excuse that she's messy. And, but also, I need to remind myself that coping will look different ways for different people based off of their background, their other trauma they've had, parenting, all that stuff. Okay, so that's my first point. My second point is that Robin is a lot of things. I can't stand her either. And she was also able to see the dysfunction in this family. So, yeah, a broke clock is right twice a day. So, if she was able to tell the Brown family that they're a hot mess and that the whole tattling thing is wrong, then I'm glad that she was able to stop that in that
Mhm.
family. Um, and then I think that the rule about tattling, I wonder if it's because these were young adults who were trying to manage a bunch of kids with no real skill sets. And
Right.
so they just had like a blanket rule that you don't tattle, and they weren't even able to think about the consequences of that. I hope that doesn't come off as me giving them excuses. I'm 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 trying to understand how they got to that point, and also remembering that they didn't like each other. They
Mhm.
didn't. I don't even think Cody liked Mary or Christine. And so so you got 3, 4 grown-ups living together under a controlling religious group. They're worried about going to meet God in the afterlife. They got all these kids. They're dealing with a bunch of stuff. They don't like each other. Like, I can just see how they were set up to fail. This was like a perfect storm of behaviors and lack of coping skills, lack of support that made it so that we are seeing what we're seeing now. Um, yeah, I think. And the last comment. I'm sorry, James.
No,
Uh,
no. Go ahead.
the last comment is like, okay, the last caller, Amy said how she just did not like Mary. You know, I've come to terms with Mary. I used to really like her. I like that she was a straight shooter. I am. I like how she didn't bullshit around. I don't. And she was the first wife, and I can only imagine what that feels like to have to share my husband with my with the lady who was married to my brother last year, and now she's married to my husband, and now she's having the first kid.
Mhm.
And like I can just imagine what that may have felt like for her. And I don't think that folks give her enough, I don't want to say grace, but like give enough understanding of how traumatic that could have been, and especially with a man as manic and unregulated as Cody is. Um, yeah, so those are my thoughts.
No, well, because I
Sorry.
no. You're golden. You're golden. Um, with regard to Mary, look, I think that a lot can be made of the fact that of what she would have to endure, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the fact that you want to have kids, you want to, like, your big contribution is having children, and the fact that she fell short of that, in spite of the fact that she's listening to, because we also have to keep in mind that when they were poor or especially early on in their relationship, when people were a lot more sexually active, she was listening to people rub a husband off. You understand?
Right.
Like, right, next room, like, you listening to that all night long, and what they screaming and hollering and all that walls. So it's not just like this dude just went off somewhere with some woman and you have to guess what they doing or your imagination going crazy. You can hear exactly what's going on next door.
Right.
So I think that there's a lot of humiliation that went into that relationship, that's baked into it. As far as like them not liking each other, like you said, I've said the same thing. Like, one minute she's your sister-in-law, and it's not just the fact that she's your sister-in-law, but the fact that she dismisses the insult to injury of being your sister-in-law last week, and now she's your husband's girlfriend this week, and then his wife, and then his baby mama. Like, there's a lot that goes into that, and then pretending like it's not a big deal.
That's such a good point.
Deal.
That is such a good point. Yep.
And you're dismissing my feelings and how I feel about it. Like, so at that point, we can't even have a conversation about how this is affecting me, because you're dismissing that I should even be upset in the first place. So, I mean, that automatically is going to create problems and tension. As far as them having a bunch of kids that they weren't ready for, I agree. I think that they were wholly not suited or prepared. They weren't prepared to deal with each other, much less added children into a bad situation.
Yep.
That, I think that's something that that transcends polygamy. I think people do that in monogamous relationships all the time, where they try to heal relationships, fix relationships, or bind a relationship by adding children, which is a huge mistake, because kids don't make things better. If anything, kids will make things worse, if not more difficult.
Yep.
But, with them not knowing how to deal with kids, I think there's certain lines that, like, if you don't know how to deal with kids and they're tattling, or they keep coming to you with stuff that you feel like you're being overwhelmed, that's one thing. But the second, like, you can't, like, it's hard for somebody to explain to me how you think it's okay that your kid is going next door and they're being approached in a sexual manner as a child. And when they come back and tell you that you relate to that child, that you don't want to hear about it because you're too busy struggling with your inability to be a parent, and you're not sure what to do. Because like, I just, I don't know.
No, you are exactly right. You are so right. And I think it's like, was it the egg first or the chicken first? Like, was it a situation where they didn't want to hear about any tattling, period? And so then when bad things did happen, the kids felt like they couldn't even go talk to mom and dad. It's just a mess. And I think the sooner these people get off of my TV and my subscription services, I think it'll be the better for all of them. Mykelti, I just can't. She has the worst aspects of both of her parents. Like, she is attention hungry. She is the way that they were socialized. I think someone said that in the chat too. Like, these folks were just, she's a lot. And the fact that she has a platform to spout off her crazy stuff about postpartum depression and eating the placenta and how you shouldn't be depressed and that's a mom's problem. I mean, just like she lost so much of any cred that she may have had. She totally lost that with me. And so, like, I can't even take anything she says seriously. And with Payton has said racial things. He has said terrible things about transgender folks, about his own siblings. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and I couldn't throw him that far. And Maddie, you know what? I've never liked Maddie. I've never liked her. She comes across as a know-it-all. Um, uh, she got with her third cousin who was 10 years older than her. I mean, that's messy too. It's just messy. It's messy. And so I appreciate this group so much. This is my second time calling in. I will try to make it on Saturday, and I'm going to sign off so that hopefully Carmel Cuties can come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, James. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you for
everybody.
calling in. I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, making good points. I just don't know. Like I said before, and if you guys been following me at all, I said when at the end of season 20, I was like, I don't know where they're gonna go after this. And now that Mykelti came out with this shit, I really don't know where y'all gonna go after this. Cause this is how you gonna follow this up? Like, you know what I mean? Because I agree with not like that. It would be awesome if they pressed them about some of the issues, or I don't know if it was Nadia or Sarah, but they could press them about some of the issues. The problem is season 21 is already in the can. That's already filmed, and it's all predates these accusations. So it's not like they're going to address any of this stuff. Even the special that was on Netflix, the documentary that was on Netflix regarding the gentleman who was doing all this stuff in polygamy, they're not going to address any of this stuff. So we're fitting to watch a full season of them talking about going to dinner, and Cody and Robin talking about how much in love they are. Christine talking about how David treats her completely different than Cody treated her, and Janelle talking about her new business and house, and Mary talking about jet setting, and none of the big issues are going to be addressed. And if we're going to be, and if history serves us any reference, they're never going to talk about any of this shit. They're just going to keep sweeping it under the rug and kind of touching it, but not touching it. And, they'll ask Christine about it, and Christine will say something to the effect of, well, that's not my story to tell. That's Mykelti's story, and I'm going to give her the space to tell it. Like, well, it involves you too, Christine. Like, she pulled you into it too, because she said she told you. And girlfriend, because now normally you might be right. This would be none of my business. But because you're on a public platform and you're a public personality, you got some explaining to do. You got some explaining to do, sis. My you know, you are cast as the Brown family mom, and this is not motherly. Just saying. Before I get to Caramel Cuties, I'm gonna close out with Caramel Cuties. But we had a message on SpeakPipe. You guys can leave messages on SpeakPipe. I still check them. From Tanya Carter, and this is what she had to say.
Hey James, listening to the quick YouTube, I just watched the little TikTok part of it. Mykelti says that it was a kid in her neighborhood, and she says it's so casual, like, oh yeah, I was walking the other day and I saw a blue bird in the tree. But anyway, she says it's so casual like that, like it's like whatever. I'm just having a hard time believing Mykelti. Like, Mykelti is an attention seeker. The fact that she said that Robin is the one, the fourth wife is the one that told her not to tattletale. All of Robin's kids were tattletales. That was the problem that the Brown kids had with them, was that they were little brats and they were tattletales. And I don't see Robin telling her not to tattletale when that's what her kids do, and she's always defending her kids. Not only that, she accused Preston of SA, so why would she be the one to say don't say anything? There's a lot of things that the math ain't mathin'. And then I'm not saying that it's any better if a kid did that to her, but we got questions. Was the kid her same age? Because kids are curious. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. Can I touch that? If the kid was her exact same age, that's something, but we still need to address it with the kid's parents. If the kid was older, but still a minor and knew better, then that's something we need to address. But if it was an adult, then that's a felony. Like, you can't throw something out like that and then not explain anything at all. Mykelti's out of line as usual and needs to explain herself.
Fair play. Yeah, this is this is why I said from the beginning when I found out about it, heard it on Tuesday, and even in my gut reaction, I still stand on this shit. This subject matter is not something you just kind of drop on the table and walk away. This is deadly serious stuff. Like this isn't a throwaway line, because even with listening to the bigger interview, then we'll get to Carmel Kitties. Listening to the bigger interview, they like Mykelti was complaining about, and this is where I kind of struggle with Mykelti a little bit because she uses phrases and terms, and these phrases and terms are designed to victimize her in a way or present her as a victim or the subject of oppression in some way. And she had talked about how she was parentified as a child. Oh, I was changing diapers at 4 years old, and that kind of thing. Like, that's kind of a stretch. Maybe you were involved, like you might have put your finger down at 4, but to pretend that you were walking around with a full on baby on your hip at 4, and you were changing diapers, and you were responsible for that child at 4 years old, babysitting that child. That's a lot. But then she went on to say that she had even parentified her parents because there were a couple times she got up and made Cody eggs before he went to work. And in that definition, I take issue with the idea that because you made your father an egg, that somehow you're acting as his parent. I grew up, like there were kids I knew, my neighbor, part of their chores, it was Kim and Brian. They were a little older than I was, but part of their chores was they would come home, like Kim would come home with Brian in the afternoon, and they would make dinner for the family. Like they would come home after school, they would study, they work, they would clean up the house or whatever chores they had, and they would start dinner for the family. Their mom, I'm not gonna say their names, but their mom and dad came in and they would sit down at the table and the food was ready. At no point would I look at that situation and be like, yeah, they were parentifying their kids, and somehow the kids were the real parents and the parents was the children. That's not a thing. They were just doing chores. It's like if my mom asked me to go mop a floor, I'm not a parent because I'm mopping a floor. Cooking is a chore. So it's not you're not Cody's father because or mom because you made him an egg in the morning. And it's just those kind of mixture of terms that creates issues as far as and even as into the deeper explanation of like Mary abused me because when we were kids, I was playing at the kitchen table, the dinner table, and Mary may have looked at me and said, "Okay, you want to sit there and play? You done eating? You can excuse yourself because I don't want you sitting there playing at my table." I was singled out and I was abused. That's not abuse. That's parenting. Okay, and you might not like it, but that's parenting. See, here's the thing. When you're a kid and you go through things and your parents have rules, you might look at it and say, I'm being abused and mistreated. But what you don't realize is that your parents are setting rules, guidelines, and expectations as a means to not only create a safe, secure, and consistent environment for you, but they're also protecting you. When my mom and dad put a curfew on me as a teenager, they weren't trying to kill my fun. They weren't trying to destroy my life. What they were trying to do was keep me safe because they understood that me being out, especially as big as my ass was, walking the street as big as my ass was, and I know this is gonna make some folks uncomfortable, as black as my ass is, walking around, and we live not far from very like I live kind of on that cusp. So I grew up in a middle class household, and we live very close to uh places where people actually had money, right? I went to school. I lived around the corner, literally around the corner from Patti LaBelle. I was maybe 10 minutes away from one of the houses that Bill Cosby owned. My parents' house is when Will Smith bought his father a house over in Chestnut Hill. I grew up maybe about 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes from where Will Smith bought that house. Like I grew up in a place where I've been in these neighborhoods, walking in these neighborhoods, and been stopped by police because I've been in these neighborhoods and I quote unquote don't fit in these neighborhoods. And my parents, in an effort to protect me, would issue rules because they don't want me to be like after a certain hour, there's nothing in the street but trouble. And so by my parents saying like we want you in at a certain time, that's not them saying, oh, because you're a black kid or because you're a big kid and you look like a grown ass man. What they saying is that you're the most powerful tool you can have in your tool belt sometimes is bringing your ass home where you could be safe and secure. They're not ruining my life. They're being parents and they're protecting me and they're teaching me how to protect myself. So when you look at that situation and how she describes things, I sometimes have questions about how it is she's describing stuff. You know, I have questions. Like, because if I had kids, especially if I got a bunch of kids at the table, because I appreciate what Linda said, like, you know, she can only watch 2 kids. If I got a table full of like 8 or 9 kids, it's already unruly and it's hard to control. I don't need to have a kid who's being disruptive amongst other kids, causing more mayhem and confusion when I can just simply say, okay, you're done eating your food, get up from the table, go take care of yourself, because I got kids who aren't eating and they aren't done and they're too busy playing with you that they aren't taking care of what they need to take care of. So I have to look out for them, because at the end of the day, it's not just about me taking care of you. I have to take care and make sure these other kids are okay too. So if I say that you're done eating, you're finished, get up and clean your plate, you know, wash your dish, you can go into the other room and watch some TV or sit in a room or whatever, because you're being punished because I told you to stop and you didn't stop. But this young man is going to sit here and continue to eat because he only ate 2, 3 peas, and I need him to finish his plate so that he can follow suit, wash his dish and clean the table or whatever the case may be. Then that's what has to happen. But it's not just about, like, being a parent isn't just about you making your kids feel good. You got to teach them some shit too. That goes into the thing. Let me get Caramel Cuties in there. Caramel Cuties, what's going on?
Hey, James. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
The last few points you made, all I was doing was sitting here clapping loud as hell in my car while I'm parked at the train station waiting for my daughter. But I feel you. And I don't know. I'm not gonna say it may be culturally that certain parents just instill certain things in their kids at a younger age, but Mykelti, I'm not gonna lie, she was one of my favorite brown kids when they were younger, and I can understand her little rebellious, smart ass mouth, syndrome she might have had with fighting back with her parents, because I was the same way. But here is the difference. I grew the fuck up. When I rewatched the episode when her and Aspen were no longer going to live together, and she said she dropped out of college, and she was like, oh, I don't want to grow up. College is hard. Damn right it's hard, motherfucker. That's why everybody don't do it. But the fact of the matter is, like, I feel that, and I wrote down a few points, so if I kind of jump from one point to another, please bear with me. I was driving and trying to write at red lights, but I feel like Mykelti now, and being with Tony might have made it worse, has that whole attitude of everything my parents did, I'm going to do better. The last caller said, and thank you, I appreciate you for taking time thinking of me being all old, I appreciate you. But she said something about Maddie being the know-it-all. I've never really taken Maddie as that type. I've always taken Mykelti as that type. And it's even worse now that she has kids, because she feels that she's like Mother Hen, right? Just because you came from a family with a whole shit ton of kids, and she felt that she was parentified because she took care of Truly. Like, let's get that right. Aspen took care of everybody. Mykelti helped take care of Truly and maybe Robin's 3 kids when she came into the family. And when I get on that motherfucking topic of Robin, I I'm going to spitfire them facts out. But the fact of the matter is, Mykelti didn't know shit then, and I feel like she still don't know much of shit now. The fact that she didn't give her own kids a bedtime, her daughter, I mean, and I'm going to say a caveat, I'm not downing her as a mother, because as moms, we all do the best that we can with what we got. Now, with that being said, she didn't give her own kid a goddamn bedtime. Avalon really didn't start talking until after the age of 2. I don't believe she got her daughter speech therapy. I think it just came about as, oh, she'll talk when she wants to talk type shit, right? I remember her doing some LuLaRoe lives and Avalon climbing on shit, dumping out buckets of people's products that they just purchased, and and she's just sitting back as if it's cute and it's fun, and it's not. She reminds me of those people who take their kids out in public, say at Target or somewhere, and they're in the middle of the aisle having a stone cold fucking fit. And like she said, well, if my kid's crying, I'm going to let them cry for a little bit, and then I may try to soothe them or do this and that. After 5-10 minutes, if you don't pick they motherfucking asses up, like everybody in the store don't want to be bogged down hearing your child holler and scream, kicking and fighting in the middle of the aisle. Like, if you have a child that can't be out in public for long hours, find a babysitter when you need to run chores and just don't take them out. Because obviously, if you can't teach them to behave in public, how the hell are they going to behave when they go to school? They not. You get what I'm saying? An hour into class, your teacher going to be calling you saying, hey, we need you to come pick up little Johnny because he's under the table kicking and screaming, and it's disrupting everybody else from learning. But I don't think she's read that in her parenting books as of yet, because unless it comes from a book, she has no clue how in the hell she's going to make shit go. You know what I mean? So I'm going to jump back to, I wrote some stuff down. Hold on, give me a second. Megatron and Tanya had both said how she casually mentioned, it happened when she was younger, some little boy down the street, and that she currently isn't healed enough to talk about it. Everybody has their opinions on, and I'm going to stay true to mine. I feel like, why even throw it out there? Even if tattling, quote unquote, was the topic of discussion, why even mention it if you weren't going to, 1, clarify anything about it, 2, talk about it? And yeah, Shalise, I think, was horrible in that sense because she didn't ask any type of follow-up question. So we're left with the hanger of, oh shit, was she CSA'd? What, like, did none of the parents say anything? And then she boosted Robin to be the great white hope of their family, like the great savior she is, and then turned around and said, well, I kind of go back and forth with why Robin was so open to let me tattle and tell her all my business. Well, boo, because Robin used you to try to find out all the secrets in the family to use against everybody else to position herself to where she is. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Ain't no fucking way. Mykelti was 13 when Robin came courting around Cody, right? And the fact that, I don't know if she told her while they were courting, after they were legally married, or after they were married, because they didn't get legally married 2 years later. But either way, the fact that when you told Robin, and her words from the interview was, Robin saved me. Robin told my dad, if this is not okay, you guys handled this wrong and got me the help I needed, quote unquote. So if she, why the hell is it now, years later, you're not here? Them two to me don't go together. And I don't necessarily understand. Oh shit, hold on.
My
Decided to kick in on its own. Can you hear me?
Yes.
But how is it that if she got you the help you needed, which I would think constitutes along the lines of therapy of some sort, obviously it might not have been a police report that was attached to that help. So again, if All this happened in your childhood. When you're teens, your great savior got you help. But yet, you're now almost in your 30s and you're still not healed. That's a walking red flag to me. And no, I'm not putting a timeline on nobody else's healing. I'm not putting a timeline on when she may feel the need to want to talk about it, whenever she may be ready to talk about it. I just feel that if you know the audience that holds two sister wives, and again, all this came out well after Shalice explained, hey, our last interview hit millions of views. And Mykelti's face lit up like, oh shit, if that was good, wait till I tell you the rest of this juicy shit. And that's how I took it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But, so the whole tattling thing, I had to write down the names because I couldn't count out loud for whatever reason this afternoon. There were Aspen, Logan, Mykelti, Maddie, Leon, Hunter, Peyton, Garrison, who were all teens and or preteens by the time Robin got in the family. That's 8 kids. That would have left Gabe, Gwen, Isabel, Savannah, and then, of course, newborn Truly, which would have been 5 once Robin came along. Teens and preteens should have been past the tattling phase in the Brown family by the time Robin came along. You get what I'm saying? So if she brought back the rule that it's okay to tattle, as a teen and preteen, what the fuck you tattling about? It's not making sense to me. And I asked it in with the super chat, and I'm going to ask it again. If Robin knew bringing her 3 kids into this family, how hot mess of a family they were, how fucked up they were, why would you still marry into this family, especially having all the other prospects supposedly you had lined up outside of none of those other prospects were about to have a show? So Robin ain't no better than the trifling ass Brown. Let Mykelti tell it. She's just as bad, if not fucking worse. Because if her situation was as bad as, she put it out there to be, and Robin knew about it and still married into the family and still wanted these kids, these adults, to integrate and be so-called parents to her kids, something is mentally off with this broad. I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, though, because I had said that earlier. Like, if I was dating somebody, or I was in the process of being engaged, and I'm bringing in kids, I have my own kids, and one day I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm talking to their child from their relationship, and they share with me, yeah, this guy next door did XYZ. I went and told my mama, and she told me to not tattle. Baby, get your coat. We going to the police.
Right.
And then after that, you probably won't see me again. Right? Because I'm done with this shit. I'm clocking out. I'm punching out. Like, are you crazy? I'm not bringing my kids into a place where they feel like they can't talk. Or you did this shit to you. And let's take a step back for a second. You did this to your kid. There's no way in the world I'm bringing my child in there who you don't really have a relationship with, and we're going to keep it all the way a buck, technically your stepchild. And if you're not looking out for your flesh and blood, there's no way in the world I'm going to expect that all of a sudden you're going to start looking out for my kid.
Right.
Tell my kids something different. So, no, we're done. We're super done.
I'm going to add a caveat to even that, though, James. The fact that she had her kids calling this man daddy before they were ever even fucking spiritually married, allowing him to put her kids in the bed at night, allowing him to kiss her daughters in the mouth.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I've not dated men that I know have kids because I don't like the way they parent their fucking kids. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't raise my kids the way you're raising yours. So ain't no way I can date you, let alone try to marry your ass, spiritually or legally. Because our kids are gonna have to mix, whether you're a full-time dad or a weekend and once a week or once every other week in the summer type dad. If I don't like the way you and your significant other, baby mama, whoever, parent y'all kids, I'm not intertwining with that.
Right.
Like, for example, I can't stand a child to answer an adult what. I think that is so fucking disrespectful. And a guy that went to high school, reconnected when we got older, and he got 3 kids, I got 2. We all happened to be at the amusement park at the same day, and he called out to his daughter, who had to have been about 7, and she not only said the word what, she said it with an attitude like he was bothering her. What? And he kept on going like it was nothing. Oh, yeah, bro. You can ditch my number after this. I'm not about to bring my kids in a situation to where that's the standard that you live by in your house, because that's not what I do in mine. We don't mix. We're unequally yoked. It's not happening. Sorry. And that's just a small example. You get what I'm saying?
No, I feel you.
Nah, dog, I'm cool. No, thank you. I'll pass. But again, I wasn't faced with dating a man who had a TV show he was about to do and possibly boasting and bragging like he was about to have millions and billions of dollars coming his way. Yeah, no, I'm cool. Not happening. But I don't know. I said it from the gate. That whole interview, it gave me the ick, for one. But 2, something didn't sit right with me the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I actually had absolutely nothing else going on around me. So I had 100% tunnel vision, tuned in, watching it with no distractions or outside interactions to make me be like, oh, did I miss part of it? Should I rewind it? And I'm going to just let it keep going type. You know what I'm saying? And the second time around, I was like, this is a little weird.
Hello?
And I picked up on a couple more nuggets like she dropped down. And yeah, I'm completely just turned all the way off when it comes to the show. And what it gave me was, well, production no longer wants. I can't believe. I'm sorry. I got a car in front of me that they just put their phone on the fire hydrant in the middle of the street to do a freaking TikTok. I can't. Anywho, these young generations drive me insane. But there's no way this next season is gonna be worth shit. I don't know. I don't necessarily, and I've been saying it, like, this should have been their last season, unless he does some type of let's get back apology for with the kids. But then if he does that, it's going to open up more questions because how genuine is it? You know what I'm saying? But I feel that because Mykelti hasn't been asked, her and Tony, to film, she has to boost ratings for their Patreon the best way she knows how. And that's on the back of the. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Right. Well, I mean, the fact that
But
it's a possibility is troubling in and of itself.
I feel like if she's not going to make the money from Sister Wives, she'll still make money from Sister Wives. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they're running out of road. Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of fading in and fading out.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
I just said that I feel like if she can't make money like from being on the show, she'll make money on the backs of the show. Any way she knows how. And that's how I feel that they're doing it. Like if we just drop a little bit of nuggets here and there that keep the fans holding on, we can still get paid through all these interviews and streams, right? Is that what they're called?
Mm.
But we're not going to be paid by production to physically be on the show anymore. And if that's the case, then she's a trifling ass individual.
Right.
AKA like her father. But those were my points. I was listening in while at work, and the last 20 minutes damn sure wasn't doing any work. And I was like, yeah, if he pulls me up before 5 o'clock, I may get in trouble. So let me hold off and just wait. But I was like, yeah, no. The whole Robin get down, I don't know. That woman irks the living hell out of me. And the more and more as time goes on, fuck her. There's no other way I can say it. Nicely, meanly, fuck her. Like, she could take a long walk off a short pier. Because even knowing this information and yet you still stayed with Cody, that's a problem. You still brought your kids around. If you feel like, oh, that was the point. I'm sorry. I'm ditching my own notes here. When she said that she tattled about the boy down the street situation and got in trouble. And I think one of the last two callers had spoke on something about Mykelti's version of trouble versus, I guess, what normal people would say getting in trouble is. I'm not understanding how I'm in trouble for telling, right? Whatever it is. I'm the type of parent where I don't want to hear you tattle about you took my yellow crayon. He won't share the coloring book with me. He hit me. He did this. We're not doing that. We're not. Yes, my kids can come and talk to me about anything that happens, but you're going to talk to me and use words. We're not going to whine and be like, oh, that's what we don't do. The fact of the matter is, when you have a ton of kids at one time, whether you had 5 full adults in the house, 4 full adults in the house, taking care of all these kids at one time, or it was it was only on Christine or on Mary at times, or on Cody to be around the room, but I'd never say him by himself with all the kids. Yeah, tattling and whining is going to get annoying quite quick. So if it was a universal rule amongst the parents that, hey, unless it's something serious, a broken arm, somebody fell down the well, we don't want to hear it, then okay. In my head, I can't think of anything a child can come and tell a parent about inappropriate touching, penetration, any of the sort, and a parent be like, well, I'm gonna whoop your ass because you was over there when you had no business being over there, and completely ignore what happened. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm not going to say it didn't happen. I don't believe her. She's a liar. I'll say if it did happen, baby, go get some help. Go get healed. Because obviously it's still bothering you to this day, almost 30. And you raising kids, hurt people will continue to hurt people unless they work on those attributes of their life. But her version of trouble is just something I don't always and fully believe. I don't think she got in the trouble in the sense how she put it out there, just like how she said with the whole incident with Mary, and she got sent to her room, but nobody else got in trouble. Well, okay. I take that story with a grain of salt just the same. But that's just how I feel about it.
No, I can see that. I just say it like this. Like, when it comes down to it, I struggle with Mykelti, not because I don't want to believe her or whatever the case. It's just that historically, because this plays a role in it too. Like, I can't just listen to the accusation and then pretend like it happened in a silo or it happened completely isolated from the rest of the world, the rest of her comments, and the way she does things. I listen to the way that she describes other incidences, how she describes these things. Like I said, when she talked about the parentification, she complained about being parentified. And she gives and you could say, like, I was taking care of kids and I was responsible for kids and I felt uncomfortable. And leave it there. And I would ride with you. But when
Right.
you say shit like I was 4 years old changing diapers, come on. Or I was parentifying my father because when he got up in the mornings, there was a time when I got up and made him eggs. So all of a sudden you his mom because you made him breakfast? Like that's not parentification. So it's when you use these terms in a way that tries to make you more of a victim, you actually undercut the very argument that you're making.
Right.
And even down to like the I think you said it, other people have said it. I think I mentioned it. The way she talked about this particular incident, like there's something about it, the way it just rings wrong to me and it hits my ear wrong because she talked about it in a way where it was a side comment and this would be a major thing. This isn't like oh yeah, I was walking down the street and I ran into my the young lady I used to date, and she was wearing a purple sweater. And did I tell you purple's my favorite color? You know what I mean? Like she mentioned the SA thing, like saying that purple is your favorite color. Like it
Right.
had something to do with it, but it doesn't really.
Right.
And that's where I was like, I don't know. Because again, when you talk to people and you confer with people or you help talk, counsel with folks who have undergone this. I've never seen a situation where they just kind of flippantly mention. That's not my experience, and maybe I'm prejudiced by that because that's just not my experience. Nobody is like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, I used to get in trouble for tattling, and as an example, I would tell on little Isabel for taking my dolls. I would tell on Logan for climbing trees, and it was the one time that I was next door and somebody did some shit to me, and I told my parents, and I got in trouble for that. I hate tattling.
Right.
You buried the lead. Like I don't want to talk about nothing. And even like in the interview, I think that conversation about the whole CSA thing happened, I think about 45 minutes in. The interview is about an hour and a half. And then right after that, they went back to talking about like, you know, child rearing or how many kids you got. Like the conversation is different now.
Right.
After you drop that, like that's because that's what I'm saying about the season 21. Like, I don't want to watch Cody and Robin go out to lunch and dinner and talk about how much they love each other and how pretty she is when you got this shit out there. Like, we're done with that now. That conversation is over.
Right.
Now
I agree.
I'm solely focused on this. This is what I want to hear about. What did you know? When did you know it? Was it as she described? She came to you and revealed this to you. And if it is how she describes it, why in the world would you tell her not to tell you about it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't think he'd ever comment on it. I'd be shocked to see if Christine even comments on it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I had said that shit, just as a snarky thing. I was like, I know she was trying to get on the show. Or at least that's the feeling I got. That she was trying to get on the show. And I think Cody and Robin might have blocked her. That's why she moved down there with Christine. And then Christine couldn't get on the show. That's why she moved over there with Janelle, trying to find a place where she could get added to the cast. And I'm telling you right now, this story throws all of them under the bus. The only person who has even a kind of a saving grace in the way she told this story is actually Robin. Because
Right.
Robin wasn't part of the core parenting at the time that this supposedly happened. And she was actually the one that, actively went out and said that, no, this child needs some help. So you actually giving the only person who's getting any grace in this situation. And like you said, even then, there may be nefarious reasons as to why she did it, but she would be the only person in this situation who would even kind of get a pass. Everybody else looks like dog shit. You understand what I mean?
She still looked like dog shit because, again, you still wanted to be in the family so fucking badly. If you knew a child got touched or something happened and you still brought your kids in the family, you're still a fucked up individual.
Now, I agree with that, but at least you tried to get help for the child that something happened to. That's all I'm saying. Like, from that respect, I'll give you that. Like, you tried to help the child. I wouldn't bring my kids around.
Mm-hmm.
You
But what
understand
help
what I mean?
did she genuinely give is what I want to know, other than what? Telling Cody, y'all handled this wrong? It's past tense now. At the end of the fucking day, it's over and done. Not saying that the event was okay, because it's not. But at the end of the fucking day, like, what else could be done? It'd be stopped for anybody else for it to happen because now they can tattle?
Well, I guess with her kids. Because I think that, because that would also be the nefarious part of it. Because the nefarious part of it is, did you tell because you were looking out for Mykelti, or did you tell because you were putting them on notice that if something happens to your kids can come forward and tattle,
Right.
quote unquote tattle. So you just kind of greasing the rails for your kids. It's not that you looking out for anybody else's kids. Because I'm keeping that in the deck as a possibility as well. Like, it wasn't as
You got 4
forthright as
books
I
and a
would protect my
possible.
kids.
You
Yeah, I'm
got
keeping a possible. You know what I mean?
got it.
I got 3 definites. I got a possible. You know what I mean? Like, you playing that
Mhm.
spades. You bidding in your spades. But yeah, I'm keeping that as a possibility that she very well may have been putting them on notice that if my kids come forward and they make any complaints, all those complaints are to be taken seriously.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's not me looking out for this kid. That's me looking out for my kids.
But again, let's just call a spade a spade. If the way you presented it, like your ex-husband did that to you, and your baby boy dating is a product of that happening to you, but yet you went on ahead and had 2 more kids with him and legally married him, you're gonna marry another man who allows this type of behavior to go on? It don't make sense.
Right.
It just don't make sense.
I would even go as far as to say, even if it didn't happen to you, your primary goal as a parent is to protect your children. And so if I had the inkling that the person I was linking with couldn't fulfill the duty of protecting my children, then that person doesn't have room. That I don't have room in my life for that person.
Right.
Like, full stop. Like, I'm not trying to change nobody. I ain't trying to teach nobody shit. Either you got it or you don't. Either it's built in you or it's not. And if you're the kind of person who would allow this shit to happen in your house, then there's no way I'm bringing my kids around you. Like, my kids have no place in your life, because I am not the one who's going to sit. Look, when it comes to my kids, and it comes, especially with this particular subject matter, any kid, I have a very, I like to think that I'm very open-minded when it comes to a lot of shit. I am not open-minded, and I am not pliable when it comes to this subject matter.
I get it.
I have
I'm the
very
same
hard
way,
lines
though.
when it comes to this. Very hard lines.
I definitely understand. I went, quick little story time. We had what we call Shot Saturday at a friend's house. And of course, I'm the one that brings like the pizza and the juice boxes for the kids. And somebody brought their significant other, and I don't know if he was just overly drunk, high, or what. And I don't even remember what happened. If he touched a kid, like talked to him smartly, or like grabbed up on him or something, like roughing him up. But when the kids came and told, I went the fuck off. And a couple parents kind of sat back and made excuses like, oh, it's not that serious. You're going off. There's no need. I don't play about my kids, nobody else's kids when they're around me. And when I tell you he got roughed the fuck up and kicked out the house, and a mom who was there happened to be like, oh, I feel like y'all over exaggerated. That was too much. I don't see why y'all would put him out. It wasn't that bad. Like making excuses. Nah, we don't play when it comes to these kids.
Right.
And the fact that you don't think it's a problem, maybe you need to go too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some folks just do too fucking much and they think it's okay. They think it's okay. I don't know. That whole situation, that whole interview just didn't sit right with me. And if you can poke some holes in the whole storyline, what was told, there's some holes that can be poked in what was told. And for those that, get upset and get offended that we don't always believe victims, or I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying the way it was presented, it leaves a shit ton of room for question. And
Right.
if it did actually happen and your parents didn't do shit about it, that is a fucking problem.
Oh yeah, it's bad either way. And that's one of
Horrible.
the situations. It's bad either way. And again, I stand on the like I said, maybe I'm not the appropriate advocate, but I stand on the fact that, when push comes down to shove, there has to be a level of not gatekeeping to keep people out, but we have to make sure that when we level these accusations, that they are real. We ask questions. We try to get as much information as possible, because again, the damage that is done by false accusations, we can't sit here and pretend like, okay, yeah, if it's proven it's not true, oh well, it doesn't matter, because I am telling you 1000% that they will never talk. Like 10,000 people could come forward, all of them telling the truth. When they want to try to hide, conceal, cover up, or not prosecute a case, the one case that they're always going to talk to or refer to, remember that one lady got on the TV and she lied and ruined that man's whole ass life? That's going to be the case they talk about. Not the 10,000 other true cases and instances where it happened. So the damage that is being done by people who are dishonest in this situation, or trying to take some of that shine from people, from the like, oh, okay, I see that this is a popular subject, people are talking about it, people are sympathetic to victims, I want to get some of that shine, so I'm gonna say I was a victim too, and I'm gonna be popular and people are gonna be clicking on my shit. That does way more damage. That does way more damage. And again, I say the ripple effect isn't just the fact that the victims might not be believed, but the ripple effect is you will have people who are perpetrating this crime who will not be prosecuted. And if these people are not prosecuted because these victims aren't believed, then what's happening is you're increasing the potential for additional victims and for people to get victimized as well. So this is bigger than just, do I believe her or not believe her? And will this affect this one individual? Because there's potentially a multitude of potential victims who could be affected by this if it's found out that it's something like this is not true.
Yeah, I agree. But I got to get off. I'm getting a call coming in.
All
I'll
right.
see you Saturday morning.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
All right.
All right. Thanks for calling,
Have
Karma
a good
Cutie.
evening.
You too. You too.
All right.
All right. All right. All right. We had a Megatron left a little note, said this interview felt scripted. It got straight through the OG3 and Cody under the train. Robin keeping her kids away makes sense now. I think M probably silenced Mykelti. Yeah, you know what? And that's the jacked up part about it, is that if this does prove to be legitimate or true, yeah, no, I wouldn't want somebody watching my kids either. If you are covering up for this type of activity, I don't want you watching my kids either. Helton and all. So I don't know. Like this is just I don't know. And then part of me is like, like I said, keeping that possibility in there. Maybe this is Mykelti's way of blowing the show up. Like, oh, y'all ain't gonna have me on the show? Okay, then watch this. I'm just saying, guys. We've been on. It's been 3 hours, and I don't want to drag folks out too long. Try to make this watchable for other people, but yeah, look, I want to just go and say this. Let's put some hearts in the chat for anybody who's survived these types of situations and had to deal with this, whether it's personally, family, friends, whatever the case may be. Our heart goes out to you because this is a difficult thing, and I really want people to understand this. Like when you are dealing with this type of trauma, this isn't just a matter of getting over one incident or several incidences where this has happened. This type of trauma challenges everything about you, your identity, how you see yourself, your self-esteem, your ability to make decisions, how you interact with other people, how you view other people, how much you trust other people, how much you trust yourself. So this is why I am so animated about this, because this, this is, I said it before, this shit is not a game. This is not just a passing trend. This is a real trauma that affects real people. And the craziest part about this whole thing, and I mean this, I really want people to really understand this. There are more people than you can imagine who are dealing with this, in a lot of cases, in silence. The underreporting and unreported instances of this type of activity is staggering. It would send you to a place where you would live by yourself on a deserted island in a cave if you actually sat down and crunched the numbers on how many instances of this have gone on and just weren't told to police or authorities or parents or whoever because of shame or fear of retribution or fear that people may see them different or how they'll be viewed or to be teased or whatever reason. It would send you insane, right? How many vulnerable people are targeted each year? And again, this is not something that should never ever be taken lightly. This is not a passing thing where you just kind of throw it out there and you just walk away from it. This is something that I think, and this is where I kind of wanted to get into, like the whole idea of, even as a public personality, when you reveal this, how does your responsibility, how deep does your responsibility go? I get you're responsible for yourself and you have to take care of yourself, but when you are a public figure, you bear and shoulder some responsibility beyond just yourself. And I think that that's part of the challenge here. So again, this is one of those, this is a catch-22, because on one end, you hope and pray that Mykelti's not lying or would lie about something like this or be deceptive about something like this. Then at the same time, you also recognize that if she's not lying, she's telling the truth and something severely traumatic has happened to her. So there's no good answer in this. Only real, like I said, only real way out would be if she came out in short form, in short order, and said, guys, I misspoke. I was wrong. I didn't mean that the way it sounded. It was just an example, bad example, or whatever. You're still gonna catch some shit, but I think that's the only way that anything positive, or not positive, but at least salvageable happen in this situation. But let me give a shout out to the folks with hearts in the chat. Then we can close this out. Put some hearts in the chat for any individual who needs support right now. Maybe they don't want to, again, maybe they're going through some things and don't necessarily want to share, which is fine. But let's get some hearts in the chat for TLC's Kitty, Negla 3, Brittany Not Brittany, Jody Periscala, Carmel Cuties, Megatron, Miss Betty, Kathy Ferran, Kathy in the house, Allison Gaines, Marlo Peterson, Antine, Ty, Lit Mom, and of course Susie Q. Hopefully we got some good news for Susie Q coming up soon. But yeah, and I also want to include as Carmel Cutie said, make sure you're checking on your strong friends to make sure that they're okay. Some people who we kind of overlook because they always seem to have the answers for us, and we sometimes don't maintenance their needs because they always seem like they got it all together, but they have trouble too because you know what, they're living life as well. And I also want to put some hearts in the chat for our military folks. You know, it's a trying time because in a time of uncertainty, because they're not quite sure what they're doing or how they're doing it. So I want to make sure that they are represented, as well as not just the people who are making the sacrifices, but recognizing that their friends, family, and community are also making those sacrifices by not having them around, their absence or the unsurety of what is going on, because you're not sure if they're going to get the paperwork to ship out or what's happening. Because even if, like, I know somebody's going to say, but they're talking like peace negotiations. Even if that's the case, as with many military actions, there's always like the follow up and the maintenance of said action. So people still may get called up just because things may end tomorrow. There's still a possibility that they may still get called up and sent over. So just keep them in mind as well. Yeah. But thank you guys so much. Thanks to the callers who called in. And I want to give a special shout out to our Mega Mod Squad, Lizzie B, Carmel Cuties, Brittany Not Brittany, Hold Me Down. As mentioned, this will be one of the final lives that I do on My Take on Reality. The lives will take place on My Take on Reality Live. That's my other channel where I'm going to do the live streams. I'm going to do a lot of the true crime stuff and like some of more like a social stuff here. And we'll probably wind up talking about Sister Wives more on My Take on Reality Live. But just to be fair, like again, it's for me, it's going to be a hard lift because I do take the issue of essays so seriously. It's going to be hard for me to, with that big issue hanging over the cast and over the show. It's going to be hard for me to have conversations about, you know, Cody perhaps taking money or misusing funds or wasting money on XYZ. Because at the end of the day, these folks have nothing to do with each other. Their money should completely be disentangled at this time. So it doesn't matter if Cody blows through all his money with him and Robin and they go from living in a $2.1 million house to a damn freezer box. What do I care? Especially in light of these very serious accusations. All right. So, but that's, you know, I guess we'll talk about it soon. But I do have a live. I do want to do the live that I had posted before, which is going to talk about the whole issue with like what we expect from young men coming up in our systems, and you know what the expectation is. How do we develop these guys? What responsibilities do they have? Et cetera, et cetera. I did want to have that conversation. So look forward to that. I will be dropping that on the My Take on Reality Live. I think I'll do that on maybe I'll do it on Sunday. Make sure you hit the My Take on Reality Live. Ring the bell for notifications so that way you don't miss anything. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging in. I appreciate everybody being respectful because, again, this is a very difficult conversation. And a lot of trigger warnings, a lot of things that people have to be concerned about. You know, I think that we were able to talk about this with class and respect, and we didn't attack anybody. I feel like we're trying to be fair to all parties involved. We're just merely expressing our opinions, and I think that that's what these types of subjects need. We can't coddle these subjects either and hide them back and pretend like we can't ever talk about them, because if we do that, we're actually doing a disservice. But we had a message from Lizzie B. We appreciate our military first responders, the people that check in on us. James, thanks for having this channel to share your ideas and listen to us. Well, thank you so much, Lizzie B. Let me give you a little something. Lizzie B in the house. Well, what? Holla at your boy. Yeah, I just, but yeah, just thank you guys so much. And thank you for being good stewards with the relationship and with the channel and with each other, and taking care of making sure that we're taking care of each other. Because as a community, like I said, we are a very diverse community. We have all kinds of folks who are here in different places, location, geography wise, et cetera, et cetera. And part of our group, sad to say, are people who have survived these types of situations. And so I appreciate folks being mindful in how we talk about it, and sensitive to the fact that we have to respect each other, and we're not just coming up trying to burn it all down. I appreciate that. Kathy, Papa Smurf. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. We will be back. We will be talking about some additional things. Stay tuned. I still have my Carmelo Anthony video that I owe you guys, talking about the verdict, on why I think it went the way it did, which I think will be very illuminating for a lot of folks. It has, in my opinion, it's not as centered on race as everybody's trying to make it out to be. I think there are legitimate legal reasons as to why the verdict was the verdict, and I will present those. All right. Hopefully you're looking forward to that. That will be on my Take on Reality channel. Just make sure you hit the bells for notifications, and that will be a prepared video. It'll probably be about 15 minutes long. All right. Thank you guys so much. That's my take. I'm James, and this has been my Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.